video is proudly supported by RM Risk Management, providing a comprehensive range of services tailored to UK property managers. Visit rmriskmanagement.co.uk to ensure a secure tomorrow. This video is brought to you by Tilton Road, the home of unique Birmingham City fan merchandise. From classic designs to fresh drops you won't find anywhere else, they've got every Blue Nose covered. Check out the full range now at tiltonroad.com. If you're looking for a way to make football matches more exciting without throwing your money away this season, then you need to download Tipple. Tipple is a free-to-play prediction game built for fans of all 92 English League clubs, perfect to play with your mates while watching the football. Each week you'll be challenged to predict 6 correct results from 20 fixtures across the Premier League, Championship, League 1 and 2. And it's just the results. No scorelines, no budgets, no transfers and no overthinking. So pick your 6, climb the table and rule the group chat with Tipple. The link to download the app is in the description and use this code on screen right now to join our Blues Focus League. Thank you to Tipple for sponsoring this video, and now back to the video.
Welcome to Blues Focus Deadline Day live, coming to you live on YouTube, X and Facebook. Just going to do slight little changes here. Welcome, I am your host Josh. We are going to be going through the last hour of the Deadline Day transfer with you all today. Any announcements coming from Birmingham City, we will be giving you to them live. Happy to be joined by Kieran and Dan. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Not sure if Dan's with us or if he's gone. He keeps dropping out. Tonight we're going to see the end of the summer transfer window as it closes at 7 o'clock tonight. And usually it's 11 p.m. Tonight it's going to be 7 p.m., which is a bit of a different one. Don't think I like it. Not really happy with it. But we'll also spend some time after the window closes, just in case we get them last minute announcements. We'll look in depth at who's coming in and who's come out of Blues. And also the rest of the Football League. Big news going on today. It seems to be a day of transfers as it's happening. As always, if you want to get involved, make sure to get your likes and comments in. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know on your opinions on the transfers from today. And we'll get straight into it. And I'm going to go on to the point of all the comments already. Patrick Roberts has been spotted at the Elite Performance Innovation Centre Epic Training Ground today. Ahead of a loan move from Sunderland. That should be announced hopefully within the next hour. But if not, maybe a bit after. Anthony Joseph and Keith Downey have also announced that Birmingham City's £3 million deal for Celtic winger Hyun Jun Yang has collapsed. The player had made his way down to the Midlands ahead of a medical to join the club, but will now head back to Glasgow. So some early news coming in. Just going on this one. Definitely a loan. Asked him about it. Said just a loan. Perfect. Obviously, there must be people down at Epic that are there. So anybody who's there, if you can give us any comments or anything you see coming in, we will make sure to talk about it. We'll go in on the first point I wanted to get discussed is, before we talk about players coming in, Birmingham City 25 minutes ago, half an hour ago, announced that George Hall has left the club on a permanent to join Port Vale for an undisclosed fee. Obviously, George Hall coming through our academy, one of our young players, one of our own. Went on loan last season to Walsall. Must have been obviously had a good loan spell, playoff final with them. Unfortunately not to come up, but it's gone to Bournemouth. What's your thoughts on that, Kieran?
I feel like he's always had so much potential. But he's just been in a situation where just as he starts getting ahead of steam and getting himself back on track, he's just having an injury. I'm sad to see him go, but I'm also a little bit glad that is a space where we can now bring in someone permanent that is actually going to be able to play more than 3 games a season. He did look great last year when he was on loan, and he did have quite a good loan. But at the end of the day, the inconsistency in his fitness, and I think to where we're going and what Chris Davis wants out of the players now, I don't think he'd quite fit in. So I think it's a great move for him, and it's a great move for the club. But if you would ask me that like last season, I would have been a little bit more upset with him going on a permanent. Again, I hate this undisclosed fee. I hate not knowing like what we're sort of getting, because you never know if you've been ripped off or if you've actually done really well on it. But I think it should be a good move for him and the club.
Either way, even if it is 500k, it's a million, 10 million, whatever. It's profit on a player that's come through the academy. So it's profit either way for the club. Now that Dan's joined us, and I'm hoping he's not frozen, he's actually with us. What are your thoughts, Dan, on George Hall going to Port Vale?
Yeah, so I think Kieran's right. I think he had a great loan spell last year at Warsaw, but I do maybe think that he found his level there. I don't think he's good enough to play with Blues at this moment in time. I think where we're going is a completely different direction, and holding on to these academy players, yeah, it's hurtful to see them go because you have a lot of, I don't know, you want to see them do well, but I think it's the right move for him as a player. Getting a move to, is he going to Plymouth, did you say?
Port Vale.
Port Vale, yeah. So I think it's a good move for him. I think have another season in a lower league and try and prove himself, where he's not going to get that opportunity at Blues, is he? So, yeah.
Sleepwalker's put here that the whole rumour money was 650k. If there is truth to that and it is 650k, I think that is it's a good sale for us. Like I said, a youth player come through, he weren't really getting a championship player, to be honest. He weren't going to get the game time. It's someone off the books that we could bring in, but I think that's an absolute bargain for Port Vale as well.
It is, but also think about how much we're going to save in medical bills.
When he's fit and he's with it, he's a great player.
Yeah, think of how much we'll save in medical bills. So that's that's the difference. We will. It's a great deal for them if he can stay fit, or if even in like the 5 games a season he does play, he plays as to the best of his ability. That he'll be really good in that league, and I really do hope for him that he gets the longevity of playing consistently and can stay out of injuries. I do hope that for him, because he just seems so cursed that every time he gets up to speed, he's out again for a little bit.
Jump to this comment by Blues22, who I'm assuming, mate, you're at the ground or Epic. Apparently, Taylor Gardner-Hickman's going to Blackburn today, and 2 more coming in, according to the security at Epic. So it could be a very exciting final hour. Gardner-Hickman, I think we had a conversation, obviously, the other day about it, where I don't think the Port Vale game did him any favours. He very much... He didn't look championship worthy in that game. I think League One against his level. If Blackburn are looking at him, it might be a good player for them. But we'll jump to Dan. What are your thoughts on? Because obviously you weren't with us on Wednesday. What are your thoughts on Taylor Gardner-Hickman going to Blackburn?
Yeah, so I liked him last year. I thought he was a brilliant signing, really strong squad player. Where he fits in this year for Blues, I have no idea. So offloading him, maybe getting, I don't know if it's a loan or we're selling him. But hopefully we can get some money for him. Yeah, I think Blackburn or someone like that is a good option for him personally. Again, similar to Hall, it's like if you're not going to get game time, then you might as well go. Like the lad's from where I'm from Telford, so he's a local lad. So since we signed him, I've always vouched for him and wanted him to do well. But the same thing, he's not going to get game time around the players that we've brought in and that we already had. So yeah, I think a move for him is probably wise.
Yeah, I think he's been a fringe player as well. I don't think
I think it's one of those as well. Like we said last year.
Sorry, go on.
Go on, Keith. There's a bit of a lag.
He's been a bit of a fringe player, so I don't think he was going to do too much this season anyway. And yeah, that game the other day really didn't do him any favours. And when you look at what we've brought into the midfield, he glaringly stands out as the weakest link in that, right the way across that. And he's been playing in defence, and he's not a defender. When I saw him there on that team lineup, I thought, "Oh God, here we go." Like it's not for me. So I think it's going to be best for him and the club that he does go.
Yeah, I think there
We
is a
jump
reason
to
why. I was going to say a reason why he was sold to us. Was it from Bristol? I'm sure it's
Yeah.
Bristol, wasn't it? Championship team. The reason why they let him go to League One, they obviously thought he wasn't good enough. So yeah, we're probably thinking the same thing now.
Yeah.
If he stays, I hope he comes on, he does do well and does do the job for us, which I think he will. So he has got the heart, and he works hard. He's got the work rate, and he will put the shift in. But if we're pushing for top 6, maybe he's not the right person to have doing that.
Jumping onto this comment, Sleepwalker's put, Davis only seems to gamble on players and then gets rid. Is that poor judgment, or is that something else?
I think that's how every manager is. You can look at the stats for a player and see exactly how they've played that season, but it depends on how they've played for that team or what their role in that team was. However, we've taken a risk on some players that aren't necessarily in form when we've brought them, and I think that can be really shrewd business, or it can be a really bad way to do business sometimes. But I think from what he's got out of those players, I do think he's done well with the players that have been fringe players elsewhere. I just think Taylor Gardner-Hickman isn't up to that level. However, I do think it is iconic that he got engaged in his Blues suit. So I rate that.
Yeah. I think last year was kind of his level, that it showed that he was capable of playing in League One. Bristol City obviously got rid of him because the fans didn't rate him as much of a Championship player. And it seems like Davis knew the team he wanted to build to get out of League One. And now, unfortunately, it's one of those points of you're building a team to get to the Premier League now rather than the Championship. And I just don't feel like Taylor Gardner-Hickman's that kind of player. But it's definitely something to build on. But obviously, we're going to be looking here all through the night. Well, not all through the night, but we'll be here for a little bit of time, and we'll give any information we can on any announcements that come in. So as soon as Blues give an announcement, we will get it to you guys. A lot of people talking about the deal with the Sky Sports. Yeah, they've announced that Yang, that deal for some reason fell through. There's no actual explanation as to why it fell through. It's just that it fell through at the moment. So hopefully we can get a bit more information from Sky Sports on that as to why. This guy, Richard Eustace, as per Patrick Roberts, is a left-footed right winger, guys. Is that something that we've needed?
Yeah, a right winger for a start would be great. But he also can play on the left wing, so he's again versatile, but he's predominantly a right winger, which is an absolute bonus for the team. I think that's something we have been missing. And hopefully they can actually start getting the balls in, but he can come in and shoot as well, which is like Dimmy on the opposite wing. So I do think it's a shrewd bit of business. And could it be the first loan of the season that actually makes sense?
And I don't know if Dan's still here or if I'm behind or what.
I am here. I'm having a bit of issues with the connection, I think.
That's what are your thoughts on Patrick Roberts being a left-footed right winger? Technology is not our thing, is it? Every time we go live, we seem to have issues with technology. Hopefully,
not
big
great.
things coming soon, so we might get a bit of a difference. I have a feeling Dan's coming and going. We'll see what happens there. Are you? Oh no, he's gone.
It binned him off.
We'll jump back just to the two of us.
What do you think about it?
Distracting. Someone's put restart OBS. A right-footed left winger. I think we've had multiple conversations where we've discussed the idea of having the front 4 or 5 players that are adaptable to play in any position, and I think that just helps that he's left-footed, so he's going to be able to come down the left and cut the ball back or cross the ball in, but he's also then able to play on the right and cut in onto his left foot.
Yeah.
I've seen him play for Sunderland where he's played in the 10 role, so I know he'll be able to play there. And I think it's just one of those where we spoke about before, obviously having that ability to play them across that front line, really. And I feel like he's just another player that's going to bring quality. He likes to attack at players and run at them. And I think it's a good signing. I know we obviously haven't had much time with Sunderland this season, being in the Prem. But a couple of years ago, he was key for them getting up from League One. He was key helping them stabilise in the Championship. It might be one of those where that could be, is he a Premier League pushing player? Potentially. But yeah,
it's only a season-long loan, though, isn't it?
In. Yeah. So is he coming in to help? But is he coming in to help push for playoffs, push for promotion, with an obligation to buy at the end of it, or is it going to be coming in on loan just to get some game time, play as and when he can, and go from there?
I would probably say it wouldn't be with an obligation to buy, because I think we would have heard something about that. So I think it'd just be a straight loan. I really hope it's not the only player we bring in. But with that other deal falling through, and I think everybody was stuck on 2 coming in, I hope it's not those 2. I really do hope we get something else sorted.
Well, I don't want to jinx our luck or anything, but the last time that me and you did a transfer deadline day live, we signed Oliver Burke.
And so what a player!
Let's hope Patrick Roberts isn't another. Let's hope Patrick Roberts isn't another Oliver Burke. We now potentially have Dan back with us. Hopefully, Dan is now back with us to stay. Hello, Dan.
Yeah, sorry guys, my laptop doesn't seem to want to connect to the internet. It keeps lagging out, so I'm gonna have to do the rest of the live on my phone, if that's all right. Can you hear me okay?
That's
yeah,
fine, don't you worry.
Loud and clear.
Yeah, we can all hear you.
Yeah, so I
a
just
few players are talking about Manuel Benson from Burnley.
The what?
What do you say?
So a few players are talking about a few of these comments are talking about Manuel Benson from Burnley. I just wanted to get your opinions on that one.
Is that one of the rumours that's going about? I haven't heard that.
Yeah. So as this one, so we're linked with Will Smallbone, Manuel Benson, and Inamora.
Yeah. So I don't know. I have no idea, to be honest. I think if we are linked with him, that's we're definitely in for a winger. Not the worst shout, I think, when you compare that to players like Oxlade-Chamberlain that we've been linked with. I'd rather have a player like Benson, who's less injury prone, been used to playing in the EFL recently. But yeah, I don't really have an opinion on that, to be honest. I don't know. But how much are they saying? Because I can't imagine he's
Kieran?
like.
I don't know who he is
least
at all.
5 million. Yeah, I think at least 5 million they'd want for him, surely.
I don't know who he is at all, so I can't give you an honest opinion. I've not even watched a YouTube compilation.
Yeah. Josh Benson. What do you think, Josh? What's your opinion on that? We lost Josh.
Bear with me 2 seconds, gents. I've realised that the slow connection is because of me.
Is it?
I'm like miles behind on my laptop. I can't go sideways at the moment. I will do in a minute and work it
Is it
all
better
out.
if I go sideways?
Potentially, I don't really know. I don't know what's going on. We're having technical issues. If you don't know, we are the boys from the Unplugged podcast, and we like to have
Our Wi-Fi unplugged.
Yeah.
we don't get good connection. So Manuel Benson, I know him from Manuel Benson, yeah, from the Burnley squad that dominated a couple of years ago.
Okay, yeah.
And he very much is the kind of player we need that's just going to run at people, not care in the world. And he's that ideal player you probably need. I don't really know much on him apart from that he had a good season a couple of years ago that got Burnley promoted. But again, I'm not sure if it's one of those that once he is, if we do get promoted with him, is it going to be one of those where he's not a Premier League player and he's not going to be here in 12 months?
Yeah, so if it's the guy that I was thinking, surely they're going to ask for a good 4 or 5 million for him. And do we want to spend that money on him if he's not going to be there, say in 2 seasons if we get promoted?
Yeah, exactly. Like Josh has put it here, Manuel Benson had a great season with Burnley 3 years ago, scored 11 goals to help get them promoted, but only made 11 appearances in the last 2 years. So is he another player coming in that, like a Kyogo, who hasn't really had much game time, and could that come back and bite us on the ass?
Yeah.
Depends. Was his 11 appearances down to injury, or was it down to just not fitting into the team after they've got better players? Because they've been doing okay. So maybe they've just got slightly better players in front of him. That's all. So if that's the case, it might be worth taking a risk and getting him inconsistent. But it might take a couple of games of that consistency to get him back in to where he needs to be.
Yeah, potentially. Andrew here says Manuel Benson is off to Swansea. So it could be one of those where obviously we're only reporting to you guys what's in the rumour mills and what we know and what we're seeing online. It's exact same as you. We don't know any difference. We couldn't tell you who's actually coming in, who's actually going out exactly. We just go off what we read from you. Josh has put here to go off that one. He's a much different winger to Roberts. Roberts is much more of a creative, where Benson is much more of a finisher.
Okay.
So I think he's got a few different. He's got a long range shot on him, and I'm pretty sure he was the player that scored against us when we played Burnley at their ground, and they beat us 4-0 or something a couple of years ago. And he absolutely tore Maxime Collin a new one.
And to do that to Maxime Collin, then that I can't picture the guy at all. But to do that to Maxime, I loved Max, and I thought he was a great player. So to do that to him and embarrass him, then he was either having a bad game or this guy's actually could be pretty decent.
Yeah, I think he's a very good player, Manuel Benson. It's one of those where again we'll see what comes of it. Obviously, having minimal game time is not going to do us sleepwalker.
Yeah,
But Benson
Do
told
we
us he
need
wants
more?
to have more, but is our relegation season, which was a glorified pub team.
It was.
So go on, Dan. What was you going to say?
I was going to say, do we need another finisher? Because obviously we've got the likes of Kyogo, we've got Stansfield, and we've got the finishers in the team.
But if
we're
Dykes
not...
is going, it'd just be backup, wouldn't it?
So
Yeah.
just in here, Jessica's put Dykes looks like he's got set to go Hibernian. Striker is incoming. Like you said the other day, Kieran, if he wants a lift, you'd give him a lift.
Yeah.
The boy in blue, hello Jay. Good that you're not going to be able to come on tonight. Jay says Shay Adams in. Again, that's another thing that's come up in our group chat again today is the potential of Shay Adams coming back. Do we see it happening at all? Do we see Wagner doing a 9 p.m. video where it's Shay Adams is coming back rather than Jay Stansfield?
I would love to see it, but I don't think it's happening. I think it's unrealistic. I think we'd have had more. We'd have heard more about it. It wouldn't have just been like a random last half an hour scenario. Like with Jay Stanfield, it was we want him, we're bidding for him, we're trying to get him, and then it was like, we're not getting him, but then obviously we did. Whereas with Shay Adams, it's like everyone would like to see him back at Blues, but I don't know. There's not been enough room for me to see it happening in the next half an hour.
I'd love Shay back. I met him a few times. He always seemed decent. Loved the club. Give everything when he was on the field. He was consistent. He was an all-round great player. Be absolutely perfect for us now. Like the interchange between him and Stano would be iconic. But I can't see us being able to pull off a last-minute deal unless we've been going through some situation with him for a while. I don't think it's just a last-minute purchase we can do like off the cuff, if that makes sense. Unless there's been some actual context before, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. Unless Wagner's been watching and watched the last couple of deadlines that we've done for Blues Focus and thought, let's give these lads something to talk about in the last 20 minutes.
Let's give them something better than Oliver Burke, which we had a couple of years ago.
Or nobody.
Yeah.
I am going to attempt to, if I do this, does this now work? Am I better? I don't know if it's better. I'm sorry for everyone that has to look at my face. But we're going to get you stabilised in a proper place in a second. One of the comments I wanted to point out, because I feel like it comes in handy to talk about at the moment, is a comment from Sean here, who has put, how is Gardner-Hickman? I'm a Bristol City fan. First of all, welcome to Blues Focus.
The real BCFC.
Yeah. Welcome to Blues Focus. We are not against any fans. We would accept anyone. Let us know though, Sean, your thoughts on your transfer window as well, not just Birmingham City. Let us know how Bristol City have done, and any thoughts you've got on their window. As for Gardner-Hickman, looks like he's on his way to Blackburn. Not really going to be a kind of player that's going to be our championship kind of player. So, but again, thank you for checking in and following up. Well,
he's a great all-rounder in terms of what's he like. He's a great all-rounder, but he's a jack of all trades and a master of none. I think that's his problem. Is he's versatile, but he's not good enough at a single thing to be consistently that. He's the kind of player you want as a squad player. Like, we need someone to go left back today. He'll do it. We need someone as their centre mid. He can do it. And I think that's where his benefit comes in, where I don't think he's good enough at anything outstanding enough to be a first team starter in a championship team.
Yeah, I still couldn't tell you his actual position. If someone asked me, like, where does Gardner-Hickman play? Is it right back? Is it CDM? Is it?
I want to say he's just a centre mid, isn't he?
Yeah,
I
that's
do.
what I mean.
Yeah,
I think he
centre mid.
came to us was it as
He
a
comes
centre
to us as
mid
a
or right
centre
back?
mid and then got converted to a right back, I think, last season. So I don't actually know whether he's like fully converted right back or if he's just a one for every couple of games, just a lead cover last year kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
we were that, weren't we? I suppose.
yeah.
So that's I was going to say. So going from that, the left back position, that's one of the positions that we need to improve. Like obviously we've got two great left backs, but Buchanan is always injured. He's been injured almost the whole of last season. So everyone's saying we need a left back to cover. Have you heard anything about any potential left back coming in? Or
I haven't heard of any left backs. Everything I've heard today just seems to be attacking wise.
I would have said it was the only real position before we come into the transfer window that maybe we needed one or two players for.
Yeah.
Like everywhere else is kind of coverable by other people, where it's sparse in the team structure. We haven't really got many players that can play there, so I would have put at least one left back in, if not two, as like maybe a young lone guy and a decent competitive player to Cochrane. But I can't see us doing it, and I think that if anything would come and bite us on the ass. There's only so much lads can play. Thought so?
I saw there were talks of like Ryan Giles potentially coming, and I think that was just someone who said it on Twitter. But there was a feed about that, and I thought would be a good signing for backup. But again, he's a player who's not going to come to Blues to be a backup. He wants to play.
I think that's why we've got to look at realistic players coming in. I think a lot of players, especially on transfer deadline day, you get the funds of, well, if we start this rumor, then it's got to happen because it's transfer deadline day, etc. And I think you see a lot of stories out there that are a bit. I don't trust everything you see on transfer deadline day, to be fair.
Yeah.
Just looking back into some of the comments that you guys are obviously getting in, keep your comments coming in, guys. We absolutely love hearing what you've got to say. Sean commented again saying, we've signed Neto Borges and sold Adam Murphy. It's okay for me. Obviously, we'll touch on all the other teams later on and what we think of Isak going to Liverpool and Gahey and all the drama that's happened today. We can go through. Jack Robinson's from Sheffield United, just arrived at the training ground anyway. Looked a lot like him. This is from Blues 22, who seems to be at Epic, I believe. Again, this is where I say, don't believe everything you read on social media. We potentially, if Dan's on Twitter, having a look to see if he can get any photos now.
No, I'm just looking on Google who Jack Robinson is. He said from Sheffield United, but I'm just getting the Liverpool player.
Was it the left back? The left back, Jack Robinson. You have a look at that and let us know.
Who is Kato Inamura?
Not a clue. You're probably a few ahead of me. I've just come back a few comments just to. Jessica Rogers has put, Peter O'Rourke confirms Dykes is in talks to go Hibernian. Deal hangs on us getting someone in. There is no news at all on incomings at the moment. Obviously, we'll keep an eye out on that one. Taylor Gardner-Hickman gives 110%, just not the quality we need now, unfortunately. Needs to nail down one position. Come on, Wagner, get the checkbook out, lad. That's from KRO 1875. Kieran Prober would have liked us to have got 2 or 3 players into after Friday. We're in need of a creative midfielder that can create something out of nothing. I feel like we've got the players to do that, and I think maybe a couple extra strengthened players just to get that final click might be going.
Yeah.
Sean, is Tom and Jack coming on? I have asked Tom, but haven't had a response. So if Tommy is watching and wants to come on, message me. You are more than welcome to. But as at the moment, no, they're not. We will have Josh coming on later when Kieran disappears. Josh will be coming on to give his thoughts on the overall transfer window and let some ideas from there. Paul's put, I'm bloody worried for this season, and I don't think the window's been great as well. Disappointing, really. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I think worried is a complete wrong phrase. I don't think if we keep the players that we've got now, I don't think the autos is where we're aiming, and I think we'd be happy to have playoffs at this rate. I haven't seen from the games we've played that, well, the creating of the opportunities that then we can score. We've had 2 shots on target in our last 3 games. That is not a top half championship team, and but certainly not an auto chasing team. But I think maybe a mid-table finish is where we'll be if we didn't manage to bring in someone good now, or have an amazing January. Because that's the other thing. People are thinking long term for the whole season, like this is it. We've got another window in January. There might be some stuff now where we are start lighting up things for January.
Yeah.
And just see where we are in that situation in January. But I do think a left back is crucial for us. And I do think, well, that number 10 player, we've got Doyle come in. I think that he'd be great in that position. Dutch as well. So I think we've got that bit covered. I do think a natural right winger is important for us. So I would mainly focus on left back and right wing if I needed to get anybody else in right now. But I wouldn't say it's been disappointing window. I think we brought in some great players, and I'm not certainly worried about like relegation or anything like that. I'm definitely still more in that top half.
Yeah, totally. Don't know if you can still hear me. I've moved my microphone over. So hopefully I'm a bit more clearer now.
Yeah.
Rex 1875 has put Wrexham signing Cabor as a cracking signing, and they haven't spent a load of money, but at the same time have. But I think Wrexham's business this summer has gone unappreciated by majority of people because of what they've done. They're expecting to spend money, but they've brought in some good players. They brought in Danny Ward is a good keeper to be bringing in. If he can get the game time. Also, I know he got injured the other day. There is a funny thing going around at the moment that he got stretchered off the field at 5 p.m. on Saturday against Sheffield Wednesday. At 6 p.m. he was sitting in McDonald's in full kit ordering a Big Mac. So with his arm in sling. So they've brought in some good players, and I think they're potentially a danger with what they brought in, whether they're looking at just staying in the championship for the season or if they're bringing in these players to go forward. But
they've just confirmed that Højlund has definitely joined Napoli on loan from Manchester United as well.
There's a lot of business that's gone on in the actual for the deadline day to day. So I don't know if any of you haven't been aware, but obviously early hours this morning, £125 million Isak bid was accepted by Newcastle to go to Liverpool. That is outrageous. And then Liverpool have had a £35 million bid for Mark Gahey, then later on accepted. So it's kind of crazy day. Rasmus Højlund obviously going to Napoli. Villa are close to signing Jadon Sancho on loan and bringing in Harvey Elliott. No, Jadon Sancho on the permanent, and Harvey Elliott from Liverpool on loan. They've also signed Victor Lindelof. So it's people moving around today, and it's
Yeah, I think one of the biggest transfers of today, and probably of the whole transfer window, is Donnarumma going to Man City. I think that's going to be the biggest and the best signing that we've seen.
Do you know what? I think Donnarumma, don't get me wrong, is a quality keeper. I like Edison and rate Edison so high. And I think him going to Galatasaray, is it Galatasaray he's going to?
Yeah.
That's now. That is a crazy move for a player of his caliber to go to Galatasaray.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost unheard of. Like for me to imagine Man City without Edison, but Donnarumma as a goalkeeper to bring in, that's some way to fill the sticks, if you like. I don't think I'd really be picking anyone else on top of him other than an Allison, and they're never going to obviously be able to get him. So I think that's a great bit of business from Man City.
Yeah, unreal business by them, but you've got a feel for Trafford as well. So he played yesterday, pulled off some good saves. I know they lost in the end, but he's obviously gone to Man City thinking potentially going to be number one there, and then they're bringing in Donnarumma, and it's like not a chance. Like, in my opinion, he's the best goalkeeper in the world at the moment. You know.
Just looking through back for the comments. Sleepwalker put, get the bleach out and clean the stream, talking vile. We can all have a laugh, mate. They're currently 19th and they're the only team in the 92 that haven't scored. We can all have a laugh. Let's rub it in whilst we can until they start.
We've got issues in front of goal, but at least it's not that bad.
Yeah. BCFC Tubbs has put, I have a mad feeling we'll get Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and play him at left-back cover. Such a Blues thing to do, to go and sign a player like that and put him as left-back. I can see it happening. Best keeper in the world right now, and he's going to Fenerbahce. That's the one. We've signed a Man United goalie as well. I'm not sure when that was. It was before deadline day. From Sean again. Talk about Bristol City. Bristol City are one of these teams, you know, in the worst way thing, I put them at the beginning of the season to be like a mid-table team, thinking that they'd overdone it last year with the playoffs. I generally feel like they could be a shock team again and be up there because they've started the season well, and they've got a good structure going on. And I feel like they could build something in. Isak with a load of rats. I'm assuming Sam may have some connections with Newcastle. Might not be happy.
How would you boys feel if, say if like Stansfield did to Blues, that acted the way Isak has acted? How would you boys feel? Would you, get where he's coming from, or
I'd be annoyed as a fan because your players, as the story's going, is refusing to play. But Isak has come out and very clearly made it obvious that Newcastle had promised to him something. I'm pretty sure it was, if Liverpool come in for you, we'll say to Liverpool no, and he wants to go there. Liverpool have then come in for him and they've rejected the bid. So if it's kind of your club's promising you, if this club that you really want to go to come in, we'll accept the bid, we'll let you go. Oh wait, they've come in, no, you can't. I can understand why he's done what he's done. I don't think with the money he's being paid and the role he's got in the social media and in the public eye, he should be doing what he's done. He should have still played and tried to work it out behind the scenes. But I can understand why he's frustrated. If it's like you going to your job, them going to you, oh, we promise you we're going to give you a 10 grand pay rise, and then it doesn't happen and it doesn't come. So you can understand it, but I think there's a better way that the club and the player could have gone around it.
Yeah, I agree. And if it was someone like Stansfield, it's really difficult after you've just had a blistering season with your club, like Isak has or like Stansfield has. Then you sit there and go, why are you so desperate to leave? We've given you all of this for last year, and we're only getting better to go again. So it's a little bit hard in that sense. As a business side of things, you're going to say no unless the money's right anyway. If you think you've got a 120 million pound asset and someone's offering you 60 million, you're never going to take it. So, and if all goes through, then they've been absolutely right to stand by that because they've got exactly what they wanted, and he's got what he's wanted. But for a player to come out and say that is a lot like, that's a big kick in the teeth, and it's quite unprofessional. Regardless of how unprofessional the club have been, that's kind of one of those where you wouldn't do that in a normal job.
Yeah.
And I think footballers get away with stuff like that a little bit too easy. I think that was quite unprofessional from Isak, but I hope it all works out for him, and I hope he doesn't flop.
I think Gay was a perfect example of the professionalism to show.
Yeah.
Like, he played yesterday, he was their captain, and he banged
Scored
in a goal.
Great goal.
Yeah.
What a goal for centre half.
And obviously today he's going to Liverpool, so that just shows how you should be, or how you should act, and the professionalism.
You should always be professional about it. BCFC Tubbs has just put, Jack Robinson, 32, has just arrived at Epic ahead of a move to Birmingham City from Sheffield United. Before we discuss that, there is a comment that's come in. I don't know if Kieran's seen it or Dan. But for the past 3-4 weeks that we've been on Unplugged, we've had a certain gentleman in our comments that has begged Birmingham City to sign Tom Fellows for £20 million.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Lee, we're talking about you, mate. He's going to Southampton by the looks of it. So, unfortunately, I won't be announcing that Tom Fellows has signed for Birmingham City for £20 million. But nice to see you in the comments.
I thought you were about to announce that, though. I haven't seen
it.
No. I was looking at Sky Sports like, what has he seen?
No, Lee always likes to comment saying that Birmingham City go for West Brom's Tom Fellows, £20 million, can't go wrong. He says, going to Southampton, Tom Fellows missed out Birmingham City for £8 million, going up to £10 million.
That's a great signing for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely great signing. And it would have been a perfect player for us. That seems cheap for me as well. Like, I do think he'd be the 15 to 18 million easily. So I feel like they've got a right steal there. But what a signing for them. Gutted that we haven't gone for someone like that, really. But it does make you think, like, what are the club thinking in terms of longevity? Are we thinking, right, let's be happy with what we've got now? Is there anything to do with financial fair play or getting rid of players? Like, because we've all read that rumour that we need to get rid of players before we need to bring anyone else in. And whether that's down to we can only register so many players or what, it's not down to financial reasons, I don't think, but down to maybe registering 25 players. Yeah. But missing out on someone like him could come back on us later on, because that's a great and frugal signing for 8 to 10 million. But when we are thinking about the club, are they looking back for now January going, we will be focused on then these players that are coming up out of contract, and you never know what the early deals are being done. So I really think we've now got a recruitment team that not only just think about like what's happening right this second. I think they're already on the next transfer window to get some of the deals we did and get them in early. They weren't done at the beginning of transfer windows. I think they were done towards the end of the last transfer window, and I think that's where we'll be now. I hope we get one in, maybe a cheeky surprise, but I do think like that defense now is going to be January based, and I think they'll have to push for something harder then.
Yeah. Sam put, I'm a Blues fan. Just think he's a rat the way he's gone around things. That's about Isak. BCFC Tubbs, Jack Robinson played 37 games last season, overall rating of a 7.1. No injury since 2024. So again, that could be bringing in the right kind of player that's been playing a lot of games, maybe just not in the team due to club going a different direction. Again, it'd be interesting to see that one. Have we signed
Which
Patrick
player is
Roberts
he on?
Jack Robinson.
Oh, okay. Same player.
Have we signed Patrick Roberts from Sunderland? Because there was a rumour about that we have. Gordon, he's apparently been spotted. Well, there is photos online of him at Epic. It's purely, by the sounds of it, just waiting for the club to announce that he's come in. They need to change the transfer window back to midnight. They've ruined it. They have indeed.
Agree.
I completely agree.
There's 9 minutes left of the 8 minutes and 45 seconds left of the window.
I actually think 11 o'clock was better. Like, I think that 11 o'clock deadline where we had the hour up till midnight so we could actually go to bed at a decent time ahead of work was fine. But I do like a later. It just allows more to be done today. Like that, they're just saying on Liverpool on Sky Sports that Gaze might be in jeopardy.
Oh,
Gay
really?
deal.
What are they saying?
I don't know. I only caught the end of the subtitles on my TV.
We'll see if we can get whatever's going on with that. I've just seen that Real Betis have signed Anthony from Man United on a permanent. I feel like that's a good move for them. And I've seen it a minute ago that Marco Asensio's left PSG and also gone to Turkey. Quite a shocking transfer, in my opinion. I thought he'd go somewhere a little bit bigger than Turkey, to be fair.
I'd rather go to Turkey than there as well.
Off-grid Madman said, "Can we send Cashin back?"
This is the one. There's two bits of business that we've done this window that I really question: Beadle on a loan and Cashin on a loan. I don't understand why we've done the loans. If I make Cashin obviously come in the other day and didn't play that great when you could have had Ben Davis come in and bought him outright and done that. But Cashin confuses me as a loan, and Beadle even more confuses me as a loan, because like, why would you bring in a second goalkeeper as a backup on a loan? He's not really going to play, and now we're out the cup. He's going to play even less.
Josh says 10 o'clock would be the perfect timing. Stephen's put a good point. How has Scotland still got an 11 p.m. transfer?
Have
deadline
they?
time? Yeah, so their window don't shut till 11 o'clock. But I don't know if it's because the Premier League one was done early for teams like Chelsea and stuff that were in the Club World Cup. Obviously, I know it was open and closed and opened again. Knowing the Blues, we will announce our signings later on tonight or tomorrow. Good news, Viz, is we're going to be here until probably about 9 o'clock, just to see if anything comes in that last couple hours after the transfer rumours. So there's going to be a few people coming in, and the boys are going to be leaving, and Dan will be coming back, and we've got it all sorted at some point. People coming in, and stuff like that. So,
do you think our transfer window is done now? So, apart from, is it Jack Robbins? Is there two players there? Patrick Roberts and Jack Robinson.
Patrick Roberts and Jack Robinson look like the two lads that are.
I was getting a bit confused earlier. So, do you think one of them will come in and then that'll be it for us?
I think both of them come in, if I'm honest. Whether they both come in, you got Robinson can come in and he can play that left back role, but also in that centre back position. And then Roberts obviously being the attacker. I've just seen it in our Blues Focus chat. Someone's put Jack Robinson's a bit underwhelming. I think for the kind of position that we're in, and what we're trying to push to do, I do kind of feel like it's a bit of an underwhelming signing. But at the same time, he could come in and do a really good job, and it could be a great signing. I just don't quite think it was a player I'd be expecting, or would have even thought about bringing in. But I don't see us making 4 or 5 signings. It'll be 1 or 2 if they're done in the next 4 minutes 20 seconds.
Yeah. Having said that, I do think we have had quite a good transfer window as it stands. I think there is a couple of positions we need to improve on, but if we didn't make any more signings this window, I don't think it's a bad transfer window, really.
Jessica, are you at Epic now? Are you there now? Because she's saying security's saying there's a third player at Epic right now. Don't get me excited.
Who's it? Jessica?
Jessica Rogers.
Oh, okay.
She's saying the security is saying there is a third player at Epic. Security is telling us to stay at Epic as there's potentially one more.
Okay.
Could it
Get
be
your
less?
comments. Get your comments in, guys. Let us know before it goes out.
I hope to fuck that Shay.
Who do you think is the third player coming in?
Got to be Lionel Messi, isn't it?
It would be great, wouldn't it? Just trying to have a look back. Defo should have got Ben Davis. I think we missed out massively there. And that's a great signing for Oxford. I just don't get why. We discussed it the other day. I just don't get why at the price that was rumoured, that like 500 or 750k, whatever it was, if that was true, why we wouldn't have paid for it. Whether it was because it had to be Davis and Dow together, and we didn't want Dow. But
then Oxford didn't buy Davis and Dow, so.
But they brought him on loan. They've not purchased him, so I wonder if it was you have both on a perm or you have none kind of situation.
Yeah.
Because they've tried to get rid of two players. Obviously, that's not happened. Maybe they've turned around and gone, "Oh, we'll just let Ben Davis go out on loan."
Yeah.
I did see that Kieran Dow was due to be leaving Rangers, so whether that happens or not.
So Steve, I think it's Stephen who just mentioned in the chat about Kyogo, and this is a big topic in around Blues at the minute about Kyogo, and I think I have to say, so the price that we paid for Kyogo, it is a lot. He's 30 years old, but I think the upside is he obviously scored 85 goals in 165 games for Celtic. He's got ridiculous movement and near post runs, and he gets in behind the defenders, which is something we haven't had for a long time. Before moving to Blues, he had that many minutes. So obviously he started a lot slower than what everyone wants him to do and what's expected of him with the price tag. I think, did he get a goal in the cup or was it a league game? I can't remember. He's had one goal. Yes, but then he's created a lot of chances, but his finishing has been questionable. I don't like that everyone's getting on his back, but I do think with the likes of Gray, with say Samuel, and then like those two supplying him, and then we've got Doyle, Iwata, Peik, Fujimoto, maybe who are between the lines. I do think that his game to goal ratio will increase if he stays fit. But I do think it'll be like incredible business, and I think people will start seeing him more as a bargain than a waste of money that a lot of people are saying around Blues at the minute.
Yeah, I don't think he's a waste of money at all. I just think he's a little bit rusty. If you think back to Alfie May last year, when he went 16 games without scoring, I think he just needs to bang one or two in naturally rather than, I know he scored one already this season, but it was a tap in. I think he needs to score a decent goal on himself where he's made the run himself and he's put it in. And I do think once he starts scoring, he'll be back in form. I am just going to say the transfer window is now closed. So it is now officially closed. So anything from now is done. So I do think Kyogo is just waiting for that form to come in, and I think he'll be a great player for us.
It does make me wonder, though, how many more games does he need for that form to kick in and to take place for him to start getting goals?
I also think what we need to do is, I don't understand it personally, is we're not playing Doyle and Kyogo at the same time. Like, with
Yeah.
the players we've got, we need to be playing Kyogo through the centre, and someone picking out those runs that is smart enough to see those runs when they're happening or before it's too late is Doyle. Putting him in that 10 and with Kyogo making those runs, that could be unreal. But at the moment, we've got someone like Williamson that's playing out on the right that isn't seeing those runs and he's slow to do what he needs to do. I think what we're missing at the moment is someone on the same wavelength as Kyogo. The runs he is making is insane, and he's getting the chances when the balls are being played through. But I just think we need to support him in what he needs. Like Stansfield's great; he can come back and filter where Kyogo is on the cuff and through the back. Where I think that's what we haven't really done yet is play to his strengths, and I feel like the more Davis watches that front line, the more he'll realise. But we do really need to play Doyle and Kyogo at the same time, I think, especially if Stano is out for a couple of games.
Yeah, definitely. I thought Iwata and Kyogo would have that link-up play from the get-go, having played at Celtic together. Obviously, it hasn't worked out like that. And Iwata plays a bit further back, doesn't he? I think we are missing that central attacking mid role. But hopefully we see a bit more of Doyle in the next few games. I don't know why he's been on the bench and hasn't been starting and just getting the odd 15, 20 minutes here and there.
I think it's because Williamson has naked pictures of Davis's wife. It's the only reason why Williamson gets on a picture
makes no sense
than Doyle. It's unreal.
Yeah.
There's a few comments coming in that I thought would be interesting to pick up on. A lot about Oxlade-Chamberlain, obviously being a free agent, he can still come in after the window's closed. Do we realistically see that as an option that could happen?
I've got to go, boys. So I will pop off. Hopefully we have managed to bring some people in before it was done. It looks like we've got at least 2 from what the comments were saying earlier. I'd love it if there was a third one, and it is someone cheeky like Mitro or Shea or even Oxlade-Chamberlain. It would be good.
Yeah.
But I will see you guys later. I will see you on Wednesday. For the normal
podcast, because we will be back on Wednesday.
All right, so I will see you all later.
Take it easy, Kieran.
As always from me, keep it on, guys.
Keep it on. He's got rid of the wrong one there.
It's all going on.
Yeah. So going back to what you said about Oxlade-Chamberlain, if you're still here, if not, it's just for the chat. I personally don't. I think it's a good signing, but because he's so injury prone, maybe that's not the type of player that we need. He's going to come in on high wages and potentially fill a gap and be a great squad player. But if he's going to be injury prone and not be playing as often, I don't really want to have him as part of the squad.
I'm not sure if you can still hear me. But
I can hear you, I just can't see you.
Yeah, for some reason I'm here, but I'm not here, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure if everyone else can still hear and see you. But I'll have a quick look at the comments and see what people are saying. So Jake has mentioned Dux and how he will work with Kyogo. And I think that's a good question. So I think the Dux signing was very sensible. I think for around £1.7 million we paid for him, or around the £2 million mark. And he just provides something different to Blues. We got him from the Bundesliga, which is a good level, and it kind of gives us that Bundesliga level creator who can score, assists, and he can also snatch a moment out of nothing from his time at Werder Bremen. So I think it's top value business for Blues, and if he can slot in effectively and gel with the team, I do think his price tag, his productivity, and the flair that he can provide will be perfect for the Championship, and I think it will potentially be a good signing for Blues.
100%. Sleepwalker's put here, just remember the Stano deal on Amazon Prime. Pops his face out. We are owned by the Yanks and they like the glitz and glamour. Definitely feel like it's going to be potentially a late one tonight. Not necessarily a late one like we normally would on a transfer window, so we're not going to be like 12, 1 o'clock still looking for signings, but I feel like we might be looking at maybe an 8:30 signing announcement comes in. It depends how big they want to go for the announcement video and stuff like that. Darryl put he can hear us both. We're here. We hear you all. Perfect.
Worst host for a deadline day ever, I'm seeing. Jamie.
Thanks, Jamie.
We love a technical.
He was well off the other night. German player looked lost.
Yeah, I think that was his first game, wasn't it? So you got to give it to him. It's the same as any player coming over to the Championship. It's such a different level of football. So you got the Premier League, you got all the top leagues. The Championship is so scrappy, and it's such a physical league that any player coming to the Championship is going to struggle in their first game. So
I think it's also the fact of it's a different style, but he's also just come back from injury. So how much time has he actually had on the pitch with players and playing with, like if we go for the Port Vale game when obviously started, how many times has he played with them 11 players? It's going to be very limited amount of game time with them to be able to link and click with them as a team. We said it on Wednesday, we feel like it was just too many changes. But then you bring him on against Leicester and you could say he looked lost. The 11 players on the pitch looked lost after that second goal went in. It was a bit headless, just kicking the ball here, there and everywhere. I've seen so many passes by Iwata that were off the mark. And he's a guy that rarely plays a wrong pass. I think Leicester was one of those where, we dominated a lot and we could have got a goal if we took chances, whatever. But it purely was we didn't help ourselves at all. And I don't think you can just blame him. He coming into a game at 2-0 down or 1-0 down at the time under the threat of a fast attack, a fast counter-attack. There's not a lot he can do about it.
Yeah, and it was one of the toughest oppositions to have your debut against, really. I think a lot of Blues, including myself, I think I was going into that game expecting that we would put up a bigger fight. Leicester away was always going to be one of the most difficult fixtures that we have this season. So to come on in that kind of game, I wasn't expecting much from him, to be honest. It's tough for a player playing his debut.
I think it's one of those as well. Like looking at the other players we've brought in, when you look at players like Damari Gray, Bright Asai Samuel, Kyogo, even Doyle, they're fast attacking players. They move the ball quick. They're quick players. They like to pass it, flick and move. And Dux is that different type of player. He's that, a lot of us will call it him, the Duke style player, where it's a get the ball into your feet, you play the ball out. You're a bit of a slower player. Don't get me wrong, I've seen videos he is quick, but you slow the play down a bit more rather than that quick, fast running and sprinting. And I think people are expecting, because we've brought in fast players, that he's going to come on the pitch, rainbow flick 3 players and score a 50, 60-yard volley. But I feel like people also need to realise that his role might not be to come in and play them fancy flicks and stuff. It might purely be, you're just a body in the air, in the box, that can score goals. And he will score them. I just think he needs that time to settle in. And we've had a game, and he come on for 10, 15 minutes against Leicester, if that. And I think there's a few people that are quite on his back about it. And he'll get time and he'll build. Same as Kyogo. Kyogo will get that one chance where he'll put it in the back of the net and he'll push on from it and he'll keep going. And I think it's one of those.
So you mentioned, I completely agree with you. You mentioned Demarai Gray then, and I think Demarai Gray is an absolute statement signing for Blues. He's free, so we didn't pay anything for him. And at his age, I think he's priming for the championship. He's already impacting, played in. I think for me anyway, he's been one of the standout performers. And you can see when he gets on the ball that he goes at defenders. He's skillful. Defenders are scared of him. You can see that.
I think with Gray as well, people know what he can do. And that's the important thing. People seen what he did at Everton and what he did at Leicester and what he's done since he left Blues 10 years ago. And I think that's what worries defenders, is people know what he can do. He just needs to, obviously, like you say, he's been in Saudi, which is, there's more players now going there and they're getting big names going over there, but it's not as tough as the championship. And I think, again, a couple games and you've seen what he can do, but I still think he's at 50%. I still don't think he's pushing the best he can.
I think if I was to say my favourite signing of the summer, I would say it's Demarai Gray. I was happy that he came in the first place, but then after seeing the first 4 games, I was like, unbelievable signing, especially on a free. Fantastic.
Sam goes, Asai Samuel is a sign of the season, absolute monster. Obviously, going on what you've just said, your favourite signing. I agree with Sam. I think Asai Samuel has been different class. I don't know whether you put Laird as an Asai Samuel 2.0 or you put Asai Samuel as a Laird 2.0, but he is very much the challenge that Laird needed. Unfortunately, I don't think Samsted was ever going to be that player. Neither was Taylor Gardner-Hickman. But Asai Samuel's come in and him and Laird are the same player, and it's great to see that we've got that kind of challenge in the team, and that kind of player.
Yeah, another great signing. Can't knock that. No. Definitely.
I'm going to read it just because I like to see it. This comment, he's going to call me lazy. If you're not realising that I keep looking down, looking like I can't bothered, it's because I currently have the laptop here that has all of your comments coming in. So to be able to read your comments, I have to select them. I'm also half blind, so trying to read the comments is a bit tough. But I am reading comments and trying to pick out the points of what's worth talking about.
What about that Sam Staffoli Bertie? That come on boys, the Prem signing.
I think
got access to click.
Who's the best sign loan? Mine's actually Greasy Grealish to Everton. If we're going to go from a Premier League signing, that's a tough. That's you got a favourite in mind? Like, don't get me wrong, Grealish has been on fire since he's joined Everton.
So I mentioned it earlier. So I think if it goes through, I'm not sure if it did because I haven't had Sky Sports News on. The Donnarumma, I think he's unreal. Best goalkeeper.
Hasn't been announced as of yet. I haven't seen it come up to say it's been announced yet. But that is a great signing for Man City. But again, you've brought in a quality player in James Trafford. Like that would have been probably one of the surprising signings going to someone like Man City. But he's a great goalkeeper, and I think bringing someone like Donnarumma in 10 months before a World Cup.
Yeah, it's harsh, isn't it?
I think that's a bit harsh. That's kind of going to put a big downer on his World Cup build-up, because he's looking at that now of, right, I've had a really good season with Burnley. I've got promoted to the Prem. I'm in the England team. Man City want me. Okay, I'm going to go to Man City. Edison's going to leave, so I'm going to go in and become number one, and that's going to really push me. And how can Tuchel not say yes to Man City's number one if they're towards the top of the league over Everton's number one? And I feel like Donnarumma's just going to overshadow that. And I do feel sorry for Trafford, because he is a good player.
Someone's just
one of those.
mentioned Harvey Elliott, hoping the deal collapses. I completely agree. I think Harvey Elliott's a brilliant signing for Villa, as much as I hate to say it.
I'm
Villa's
surprised, though.
window's been a bit strange, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm surprised seeing that he's gone on a permanent today. I'm surprised they didn't try signing Asensio.
Yeah,
because he come in January, and you hate to see it. He changed that Villa squad, and he was very key in their Champions League run-up. So I don't see why Villa wouldn't have tried to sign him, but yet they're trying to sign Jadon Sancho. And you sit there going, I'd take Asensio any day over Sancho.
Sancho and
yeah. But Harvey Elliott's a great player.
Anyway,
Don't get me wrong, it's only a loan. But going on signings of the summer, I'm going to go with Johan Visser to Newcastle for one that's happened today.
Is that all gone through now?
It's now been announced, I believe, or it's very close to being announced. But they were just talking on Sky Sports News, and a Newcastle fan has put Isaac is a rat, Visser is a Geordie, and they've put a big sign outside of St James's Park with it on.
Yeah, he was a bit of a rat with how he dealt with it. Like, there's more ways to deal with it. Like, obviously, if you want to leave, you've been promised X, Y, and Z. You still play, don't you? If you love the game, but he's forced the move that he wanted. Liverpool have got an unbelievable striker there. It's done finally. It's been annoying seeing that in the news every day.
As silly as it sounds, when you see the original transfer was, when the original window opened, it was, okay, Liverpool want Isak. You start going, okay, well, this could be a long drawn one over the summer. Let's see how it goes. And then you get the fixture release and you go, third game of the season, and it's Liverpool-Newcastle right before deadline day. I don't think that's happening before that's happening, because Newcastle ain't going to want to get rid of their best striker for him to 2-3 games into the season go and put a hat-trick past them or something and show what he's capable of. But another one that I think's a signing that's going to be really good this season, as much as I don't agree on the price tag, I'm just seeing it on my screen now, Alejandro Garnacho to Chelsea.
That's so strange.
Where did that come from?
I know.
Like, don't get me wrong, there was talks of Garnacho leaving, but I thought, we'll go to like Atletico Madrid or Inter Milan or a club that kind of Champions League last 16 calibre, that are like a steady team. I didn't think Chelsea would be in for him. But to be fair, they like to sign anyone.
Strange one, but I saw a couple of transfers for them. So I saw Michael on Twitter or X said, "Why are you talking about Liverpool on Blues chat?" Like, if he was here from the start, obviously we've been talking Blues up until the deadline, and now we're just talking about the general transfers and what we think's best. So we were just talking about Chelsea, and they seem, their transfer saga seems to be a bit strange to me. Like Garnacho, and they've been interested in other random players. What's his name? Bonanotte from
Brighton, yeah.
From Brighton. Like, what a weird signing that is. I don't really understand it.
Do you know what I think? Actually, now that we've got on to Chelsea, and we're obviously going back on Michael's comment, we were asked what we thought the best Premier League signing was. I'm going to say it that I've got him in my fantasy football team, so I'm going to have to bite the bullet. And if it comes back to haunt me, hold my hands up. João Pedro to Chelsea is the signing of the summer.
Yeah, he's got me some
because
points.
he is great with Brighton, but you put him in that Chelsea team where he's got Cole Palmer and the other million of players they've got around him, and then you add now Garnacho to that, he is going to score goals.
Yeah,
he's going to be up there with top goal scorers. I can this season. I rated him at, like I said, I rated him at Brighton. I think going to Chelsea is going to do his career wonders. Sam's put here that Garnacho was a 7-year deal. But is that going to be a 7-year deal like Nicholas Jackson, who signed last year for 9 years, a year later has gone on loan with an obligation to Bayern Munich? I feel like it's just a way out of paying the money up front.
Isn't it like £70 million that he's gone to Bayern Munich for as well, which is crazy. But
I'm not sure what the obligation to buy is on him. I just know that he signed to Bayern Munich today.
Yeah, I saw on Sky earlier that it was like a £70 million purchase for Bayern Munich, and if that's the case, like the game has well and truly gone. Like he's been shocking for Chelsea. Like he's not a £70 million player.
But you say that, but saying that, like with the way that I put it is, you look at. Obviously, Harry Kane's over there and he's making the Bundesliga look really easy. But you look at other players that have ever gone from Premier League that have struggled to Bundesliga and done really well. And the one that I like to point out is Sebastian Haller. West Ham, he was awful. Couldn't really play, went out someone else, then got sold to Dortmund, and then went and bagged goals for fun. And I feel like Nicholas Jackson will go to Bayern Munich and will bang goals in. But why would you want to go to Bayern Munich and be second place to Harry Kane?
Yeah.
Just
mental.
Didn't Chelsea stop the Jackson deal after the Delap got injured?
It was
they did. They stopped it because of that, and then they re-announced at about 3:00 today that he was going to, had signed for Dortmund. Not Dortmund, Munich, and the deal was back on. So I'm not sure what's been going on there. I've just seen on Twitter that Jack Robinson has completed his medical call for Birmingham City. If that is the case, I can see an announcement soon. Johan Visser completes Newcastle medical after club's agreed deal with Brentford. That one should come up.
So how does it work then with the deadline day? So if Jack Robinson's having a medical now, does that mean that we've already agreed a fee? We've already agreed personal terms with him. It's just based on that.
Yeah. So basically, what will happen is there's a form that you have to fill out when you sign a player to say how much you're buying them for, or who it is, where they're going to, how much you're buying for, blah blah. That gets sent to Sheffield United. They have to sign that form and send it back to Blues to agree that that's the terms they've agreed on. That then gets sent to the EFL, and that's basically an extension where they can say, we're signing this player, he's going for a medical now, he's doing all this, but we want to let you know that everything's agreed. Once medical's passed, we'll sign him. That has to be in before 7:00. Okay. If that's in before 7:00 to the EFL, then they can still announce to sign it. If that goes in late, they can't announce the signing because it can't happen.
So 2 hours to register, someone said in the chat.
Yeah, so then you get... So that form goes in, and then they have 2 hours after the deadline day finishes. So by 9 p.m. tonight, any new signing has to be registered, unless it's a free transfer from a free agent, or I don't know if the loan actually you can still loan. I know that back in the days it used to be you had a loan window for another week.
Yeah.
I don't know how them ones still work, but I know that signings paperwork had to be in by 7 p.m. and then you got 2 hours after the deadline to announce it. But as NST said here, it can still be rejected. the EFL or FA, Premier League, whoever it is, Scottish team, Turkish, whatever, if they reject the paperwork because you've missed anything or they don't want to approve it, obviously the deals then, that's where they fail after. But Jack Robinson could be a good signing.
So hopefully we get another couple of signings then in by the end of end of the night. But
yeah, Sam's put, does loan go on for a week? I know it used to. This is where I was like, still not sure. I know that it used to be the loan window was for a week after, and then that closed, and then you couldn't make any signings or loans. I don't know if that's still the case. It might be that all paperwork has to be stopped by today. Someone put this. Viz has put. Can you imagine if it's that wall striker? I'm assuming he means Wang Hee-chan.
Yeah.
That would be a great signing to announce late, and that would get me excited. Because I feel like he'd be the player we need to.
Yeah. And talking about players like that, like obviously Kyogo hasn't hit the ground running with Blues, but if we're signing a number 9, how does the team set up then? Like, where does Kyogo fit in? Would he then play cam? Would he? So I don't really think he is a centre attacking mid. He is a number 9, isn't he? Would we play 2 strikers? But then how does the midfield set up? So I'm not too sure that we are looking for a starting striker.
But Hwang can play on the wing. That's the difference. Hwang can play. So his predominant position for Wolves is striker. But before he went to Wolves, he was predominantly a left winger. And if you look at his transfer market thing, it's left wing, right wing, striker, and cam. He can play any 4 of those. So where we had the conversation the other day, where it could be, do we sign an attacking 4 that can play any of those 4 positions? You can't. How can you mark a player in a game when you don't know whether he's going on the left, he's going on the right, or if he's going to go up front? Yeah. It's kind of one of those. NST stopped a few years back for the loan extension. Thank you for clearing that up. Obviously, I wasn't quite 100% sure. Alex has put, really hope we haven't got Jack Robertson. He's absolutely terrible. I'm hoping you know a bit more about me. Jack Robertson was abysmal in the cup and had a go at the lino. I don't really know much about him.
I haven't heard of him until we started this live, to be honest.
I know he's a defender. That's all I know. Was it him that had to go at the referee?
He played for Liverpool years ago, and then I think we're getting him from Sheffield United. I can't remember what I read now, but I'm sure it's that lad that used to play for Liverpool in their academy. Yeah, ex-Liverpool, someone said there.
Sam's put, so if Scottish is open until 11 p.m, does that mean you can still get a deal done until then if they're from a Scottish club? No, because our paperwork has stopped. So EFL won't take any more registrations, but Scottish clubs can still sign. So Dykes could still be signed from now until 11 p.m. Technically 1 a.m. they could announce Dykes because he can still go. It just means we can't register any new players.
Yeah, but now we haven't replaced Dykes. I personally would rather keep him. I don't know. I wasn't really keen on him leaving in the first place unless we had a replacement, because people have different opinions on Dykes, but I think he is a good player to come off the bench. He bullies defenders, and he is that.
Scored a winner against Blackburn, and he scored a winner against Bradford. What can we say?
Yeah, exactly. So.
Dan's put here, Kyogo second choice from what I've seen so far. Some great runs, but just cannot seem to finish. Wasted some big chances, in my opinion. He has wasted a lot of big chances, should I say. But again, he's trying to find his feet. Like we said, the stat was him was 4 games in last season in total due to not getting much at Rennes. So he is a player that's going to need some time to build up. And I think he's one of those. What we're going to do now, because we have a special guest coming in, is we are going to welcome in Josh. A lot of you will know Josh from the podcast. Let's bring him in. Hello, Josh. How are we?
I'm good, thank you. How you doing, lads?
Yeah, not too bad. What's your thoughts on no announcements at the moment? Where are you at the moment with that?
It's certainly interesting. I mean, the players we've been linked with, the likes of Patrick Roberts and Jack Robinson, I think it's clear we're going for championship experience with the players we've been linked with as well, Manuel Benson as well. So, yeah, I think that's what we're going for. I'm a bit surprised, to be honest, especially with Jack Robinson. I thought we'd be more looking at a natural left back to come in. With obviously Cochrane having an injury. I mean, he's coming back now, but we've kind of seen that if that does happen again, then what are we going to do there? But I mean, Robinson, again, championship experience, as well as Patrick Roberts as well. So it's looking good. We've just got to get him over the line.
Me and Dan don't really know a lot on him. Manuel Benson, is he not a left back?
No, he's a right winger. So he was at. I kind of knew a bit about him from obviously watching Burnley and when he was there, but I did do a bit of research on him to kind of see, and he's a very much an attacking winger that isn't necessarily creative. He's more the one that gets the shots off at the end. I think he had pretty much one season with Burnley where he scored 11 goals. His XG for that season was only 7. So he went way above what he was supposed to be scoring. A lot of long range efforts where he was cutting. I think he had some stupid like 3 games in a row where he basically scored the exact same goal of just cut in, whipped it top corner. And
I was going to say, he run down and he's like 20, 22 yards out on every time, isn't he? And he just top corner. I remember. He's vaguely coming back to me now who he was.
Yeah, so he kind of had that one good season for Burnley and then didn't do anything else. He's played 11 games since that season in the past 2 years, had a slight bit of injury and just has never got back into the team. So, I mean, he's definitely more the type of player that I thought we'd get over a Patrick Roberts, sorry. Although Roberts is probably more of a Chris Davis type of player. So, I mean, either of them are good. They've got good numbers in the championship. So either of them would be positive. As I said, I think Roberts is more of a Davis type. So I think that's the deal that we'll get in.
Definitely. I think as well, you're looking at the kind of players we're bringing in. They're not what I'd say, like I said earlier, they're not the kind of players that I'd have put my mind to saying we're signing this player, we're signing that player. I don't think I'd have ever even considered Manuel Benson, if I'm honest.
No, he's kind of fallen off the face of the earth in the past 2 seasons. So
the other one that seemed to come in that we've seen online and then it just died off was Will Smallbone. That kind of had about an hour and a half earlier. That kind of really took off that he was coming in, and then all of a sudden, nothing about it. But again, he's that kind of player that I don't think I'd have ever put Blues to look in signing that kind of player.
He doesn't seem like the player that we need. He's like the last kind of player that we need. We've already got Leonard, Iwata, Paik, Doyle that are all like a Smallbone. So I feel like that kind of signing is one where that not a panic, but they've almost gone, we need to get someone on the last day. Will Smallbone, he's played in the Premier League for Southampton.
It's one of those. Let's give the fans something to talk about, and it's
I'd rather we not get him, to be honest. Out of the ones that we have been linked with, I think he's definitely one. It strikes of a got to get someone in, and he'll probably come and play 5 games.
It smells of a pre-Wagner transfer to me.
Yes, yeah. I feel like a not that I'm saying we've had a bad transfer window at all, but I think if we compare it to last season there seemed to be a clear target of who we were going for, what positions we were addressing. Most importantly, I feel like this season it's been less about filling the gaps, and it's been a bit more. We've almost gone to Davis and gone, what kind of players do you like?
Yeah.
And we've kind of given the onus on him, because it seems to be a lot of players that he's worked with before, with the likes of Kyogo coming in, those kind of players. And I mean, we seem to be linked with every Japanese player from Celtic. So I feel like we've gone more down that route rather than plugging the gap, not necessarily gaps, but looking at where the weakness lies, like a left back, for example. And it seemed like, oh, that's the position we need. And we've not been linked with any.
Do you think Craig Gardner's then looked at this transfer window in a different way of, rather than let's go out and just buy top players that are out there that maybe the scouts have looked at, is it more right, we've had a really good year under Chris Davis, now let's have a look at who does he want rather than who do we want kind of thing?
I think so. I mean, some of the transfers I don't get. James Beadle, I don't get it. Yes, he's done very well in the under 21s, but Ryan Alsop.
Mike's got really crackly, bud.
Is that better?
It wasn't your mic, it was me.
But yeah, the James Beadle one, I don't really understand, in that we've got Ryan Alsop, who seems to be exactly what Chris Davis wants in a keeper. And we've gone out and signed an under-21 goalkeeper who, yes, is very good and has played at the level, but has already kind of proven that he's just number 2. So we've got a lone goalie that's just going to sit on the bench, and it's a waste of a loan. Erin Cashin was someone that I think, again, if we got him last season, brilliant. But we've got him, and yes, he is a good player, but again, we've got him on loan, and he's not looking like he's going to start. He doesn't look like a ball-playing centre-back. Yeah, we could have gone and got.
He looked really uncomfortable against Port Vale.
Very, very. It was very striking the way he was walking out from the back with the ball, and it was just a bit like, oh, come on. And he seemed very, very nervous, and it just struck me again of, we've more just kind of looked at, oh, he's a good centre-back that we were linked with last season. Oh, we can actually go and get him now. Let's go and get him. Rather than, does he actually seem to fit what we're doing? Like, Davis likes tall centre-backs that can play with the ball. He's a short centre-back that can't play with the ball. It's a
bit of a weird one, isn't it? Where he's definitely not the right style of what we're playing.
No, not at all. And I think the other
what
signings
we've been playing as well.
Yeah, I think the other signings that we made have been very positive. I mean, I heard you earlier talking about Bright Asai Samuel. I think he's brilliant to come in and give some competition to Ethan Laird. Personally, I think Ethan Laird should be coming in for him in the next couple of games. If Cochrane's back, I think he's been a great signing. Tommy Doyle, definitely need to get him in the team. Like, we're crying out for his creativity.
I think it's a bit strange that we haven't really been playing Tommy Doyle's.
Yeah, he's one where,
with his ability
you just see him and instantly you think, that's Premier League qualities. That's the difference in just little movements. And I remember watching him in the Sheffield United game.
He's one of these players we discussed Paik the other day on the Unplugged, and said that he very much is one of those players where if you don't watch him, you don't see how he plays in the game. But if you spend that 5-10 minutes watching him, you see how he controls the game. And I very much feel like Iwata is the same kind of player. But Iwata is one of those that when he has an off day, you can tell he's had an off day. But Doyle is very much one of those in the games that I've seen where you don't really see much of him. But when you do, you know Tommy Doyle's in the game and Tommy Doyle's controlling the game. And but it's one of those, we've also obviously the conversation about Willemsen in the past, where this season he's starting to look a bit more like the Willemsen of last season at the beginning. Do you think maybe Willemsen's form has kind of been one of those where Davis expected what we had after his injury? He's obviously had a point to prove and is obviously performing a lot better than what you thought. Do you reckon that could be a reason why Doyle's not getting game time?
I think Williamson stepped up more than I wasn't expecting him to do so in the Championship. I think maybe after his injury and the performance he put in after that, I was like, maybe this is his level. Maybe, the first couple of games, it was all the hype and, coming to St Andrews, all the atmosphere, the fans and everything. Maybe give him that boost to begin with. And then it kind of died off. And I thought, okay, maybe that's his level. But he has surprised me. It would be harsh to drop him. But then if we've got a player of Tommy Doyle's caliber on the bench, it's good to have that competition for places, like 100%. And I think maybe we're easing Tommy Doyle into that. Williamson's been playing sort of he played right wing the other day, didn't he? Against, was it Leicester? Tommy Doyle's a different player. So comparing those two, I don't know. But then having Williamson in the team kind of uses up one of the midfield positions. So yeah, it does take up one of those positions. But I don't know. I think Davis has got a really tough decision to make every single game. I think our defence is solid. Cochrane's injured. Laird filled in at left back phenomenally. The midfield, we've got a lot of options, and I think Chris Davis does have a really tough decision to make week in, week out.
It's definitely a nice issue to see Birmingham City have got, that it's too much quality rather than too many wages that we need to pay. Rather than think, just have a look on Sky Sports. So it's currently got a post that says deadline day deals yet to be announced. We've got Isak to Liverpool, Gahey to Liverpool, Jackson to Bayern Munich, Donnarumma to Man City, Ederson to Fenerbahce, Kolo Muani to Tottenham, Larmans to Man United, Sancho to Villa, and Elliott to Villa. Those are some big transfers coming in today that are going to see a major difference in the Prem. No, we've obviously talked about Blues and we've spoke about the high end things, but one of the transfers I've seen today that's kind of shocked me was Sheaf going to Wrexham for £6.5 million. That is a great deal for Wrexham, in my opinion.
That it's a very worrying deal for the other teams in the league. It was one that I saw, and when I saw 6.5, I instantly went, that'll be rejected. And then the next thing I knew, it had been accepted. And I don't understand why. I know last season he didn't have the best season, especially when Lampard came in. I think he's not quite the player Lampard likes to have in his midfield. But the season before, he was by far the best defensive midfielder in the Championship. And I mean, there were teams in the Premier League that were sniffing around him. And I can't believe it. He's gone for 6.5. I mean, some of us were talking the other day about how Iwata looks a bit tired and looks like we might have needed to bring in someone to replace him, that more defensive. I mean, Ben Sheaf would have been amazing. But he's gone to Wrexham, and I think a midfield of Lewis O'Brien and Ben Sheaf, it's a very, very good midfield.
I said it earlier that they've spent smart. So NFT's put it here, they've spent £34.5 million. And like I said, they brought in O'Brien, they've brought in Sheaf, they've brought in Danny Ward, Connor Cody is a great player to bring in, Kiefer Moore up front. They've brought in some really, really high quality players. And it kind of surprised me, the business that they've actually done.
I think some of it's been good. Connor Cody's been past it for a couple of seasons for me. He was awful for Leicester in the last 2 seasons, but he's now playing more in a back three, obviously for Wrexham, which is where he played for Wolves. So maybe that can bring the best out of him. Danny Ward, again, another one who hasn't been very good at Leicester, but maybe Wrexham can turn him around and he can become the keeper he was a couple of years ago, because he was doing really well a couple of years ago.
But is that more the fact that they're not performing to their best, or is it the fact that there's a lot of stuff going on at Leicester? Like we all seen the Leicester squad that got promoted 2 years ago when we went down, under what's his name at Chelsea, Maresca, and they looked undefeatable. They were incredible. Obviously, he then left and went to Chelsea. Is the off-field antics at Chelsea Leicester even, sorry, one of the causes maybe for their downfall? Because I think I rate Connor Cody quite a lot. I think he's a great player. Could it be off-field antics that are going on with Leicester, Dan, that are causing these?
Yeah, it could be. I think Wrexham's summer spending. I think we'll know more towards the end of the season whether it's smart or it's reckless. But I think they are obviously trying to match their previous seasons where they build a team that's built for the league above them. I think coming up from League One to the Championship, they obviously know that it's such a big step up, and they're trying to mould a Championship team that can maybe go for playoffs or even promotion with some of the money they've spent. I think, did you say it was like 34 million that they've spent, or 30 million or something like that? It's
34.5 million pounds,
which has got to be a record for the Championship. And then when you look at some of the players they brought in, some of them have been really good value, others questionable.
Yeah.
But I do think that Wrexham are showing that they're serious about their goals and what they want to do this year and what they want to achieve. I don't really think personally that they're going to be a top 6 team. I think they might just miss out. I don't know if they've done enough, but they've also got the back in there to build on their squad from January. But if all these big signings that they've made work and it gels straight away, maybe it's a different story in January, and maybe they could push on to the top 6 and to the playoffs.
So just in this comment, I put it to Josh to see what your thoughts are. Donovan put here, Tommy Doyle has not impressed me at all. Cashin don't fit the squad. Beadon is awful. Dykes is not what we need up front. We can't rely on Stan all the time, and Kyogo has not been clinical in front of goal. We needed a striker so bad who could put the ball in the net. I do believe we should have kept Alfie May. Obviously, we had the discussion a couple of weeks ago that Alfie May is probably the worst thing the owners have done this transfer window. What are your thoughts on Donovan's comment?
This is quite funny, actually. I had this debate with my granddad, who I go to the Blues with, and he said at the Leicester game, we shouldn't have sold Alfie May. I think Alfie May would have the same issue as Kyogo, in that it would be a lot of running, but I don't think Alfie May would have got on the ball. I wish we had kept him. I would have loved to see him just step out on a Championship pitch and finally get that, because he talked about in the documentary that that's what he's wanted, to play in the Championship. And it was one of those moments where it was just as he's got there and it's been ripped away. Yeah. But I don't personally think that Alfie May would be the answer that we need. Yes, he was a good striker, but I think he's kind of hit his peak at League One, especially for a team like Blues, the way that we're playing at the moment. I think the Leicester game did show that we rely on Stansfield quite a lot, but I don't think it's necessarily because of Stansfield's talent, which is obviously there. It's clear to see. For me, it's that I think against Leicester, no one took charge and no one was taking the game by the scruff of his neck and saying, give me the ball, I'm going to do something. I think that's what Stansfield offers. Damari Gray was trying to do it, but I mean, he was basically playing with one arm. And I think out on the wing, it's a bit harder to get in the good goal scoring positions than obviously Stano's in the middle. I think Tommy Doyle, we haven't seen the best of him because we haven't really seen him, especially in the league. I think, as you say, his best position would be in that 10 role where he can be playing those passes through to Kyogo, through to Stansfield. I think our biggest problem so far, and I think what I saw in the Leicester game, is that we're getting the ball, and I mean, Davis is basically trying to put all our creative players into the middle, which is great, but it means there's no space for anyone to do anything. And ultimately, it just they get it and they just have to turn back and give it back to the defense. I think that's why we needed someone, a proper winger out on the other side, play more of a 4-2-3-1, give Doyle the space in the middle to find the passes through to Kyogo, Stansfield, to Gray out wide. And if Patrick Roberts comes in, I'd like to see him kind of going out wide a bit more. I think Williamson's could offer that as well in the 10. I don't think it's working him out on the right coming in, because he comes in and he just has the midfield of Leicester to deal with, and they're just marking him out of the game. I think we need a proper winger out there, and hopefully if we get Roberts in, he can provide that.
The breaking news that has currently just broke on Sky Sports News: Mark Gahey's move to Liverpool from Crystal Palace is off.
They've just signed a new centre back as well, Palace. So
but
what have they said? Why it's off? Was it just?
He's talking now, but I'm not able to hear what he's saying. But the Mark Gahey's move to Liverpool from Palace is off. So that's going to be a big hit into Liverpool's sinkers. I don't think Konate started the season well. Paul put here, Richard Kone, that's who we should have got for a striker.
Disagree.
I was going to say, give us your thoughts on that, because obviously last year he got player of the season and young player of the season and stuff for Wickham. And I don't think he was quite ready for the move up, but obviously gone to QPR now. So what was your thought? What are your thoughts? Do you reckon that would have been a signing, or do you reckon he'd have been in the same situation we're in now?
I think if you asked me before our current owners are there and with the ambitions that we've got, I'd be like, yeah, it's a good signing, but for where we want to go, I don't think Kone is the answer. I think, he's a mid-championship striker. Offers something different, but he's not a player that I would have been excited about having at Blues, personally.
NST's put, why do you disagree? He's got 2 in 2 for QPR. Joe, what's your thoughts?
I think it's down to the way that we play. I don't think he suits the way that we want to play in a possession style. He suits more of a QPR who are going to be more fluid in attack and more like counter-attacking. I think that's why Kyogo's a bit better, because he's quick over a couple of yards and he makes good runs, frees up other players. I think Kone would probably be a bit lost in the team, if I'm honest. I think when we got possession, I don't know, but second half of the season, he seemed to drop off massively for Wickham. Whether that was because of they had their new manager. Obviously, he's gone to QPR and got 2 in 2. But I personally don't think he's a good striker, but I don't think he would fit the way Davis is trying to play, personally.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not a good striker at all, and he is doing well for QPR. But look, I agree with you. He's just not, wouldn't fit our style.
I think you look at last year as well, where they had fast wingers that ran forward, square it in the box, and he's there to finish goals. And I don't think we play that kind of style, because if that was a style we played, we'd have the same with Stansfield. I don't think Kone is better than Stansfield. I don't think he's better than Kyogo. I think we've got better quality. I just think the problem we've got at the moment is the players haven't quite clicked as well as they did last year. Jamie's put it here, summed it up really well. Though all being said, be happy what we have rather than what we don't. And all being said, our squad is quality and should be enough to aim for the playoffs. I totally agree. If you imagine before Wagner come in and Brady, and obviously the Knighthead group, you'd never in a million years would have thought Damari Gray would be playing for Blues again, let alone Brightside Samuel wouldn't. You probably wouldn't have had Ethan Laird and Allsop and Clark, the likes of Clara and Neumann. Obviously, Iwata coming in and Pate coming in, these kind of players that are very, very influential to us now.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have had those a couple of years ago under BHS out, and I think we need to look now and actually some people need to appreciate what we do have now.
Yeah, I think it says it all that I've just seen that. I think 2 or 3 years ago, we were going for a Kevin Nisbet, striker from Scotland, and Millwall got him, and we were gutted, and we thought, love the striker, but he's just been sold to 300k back to Scotland. Like
mental. I still haunt me that we never signed Josh Madger. The years and all the transfer windows, we were rumoured to sign Josh Madger, and then that was that Bordeaux situation where Josh Madger's come in, and then also Josh Madger signed for West Brom. We were like, what?
Yeah, but he did get injured for half the season last year.
Yeah, and then that same season we had that. What's the guy's name that I forget who he's at now? The other guy that was at Chesterfield and he went to West Brom. Is he at Coventry now? The striker.
I can see him.
I'm waiting for someone in the comments to be like, you mean this guy? But yeah, the guy that's got the double barrel name. He's now at Coventry and not really playing much. And you sit there going, these are the players that we were like desperate for, and our fans were like losing their minds to sign them. And you look at the players we have now, or Thomas Asante. There we go, Brandon Thomas Asante.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charlie. You're a legend. But Thomas Asante, we were buzzing that we were going to get him in, and then you look at him now at Coventry on the bench a lot, and it's kind of like we've now got Stansfield, who's as much as he gets a grief for being Pensfield and a £20 million player, and Kyogo, who a lot of people think coming for 4 or 5 million, but it was 10 million. Or 9 million, I think the reported fee was. There's a lot of players we're bringing in now, and you sit there going, the standard we bring in now is a lot better, and it never would have happened 2-3 years ago.
Even looking, I was going to say the pool that we're having with these players coming in on freeze as well. So we've had Neumann, fantastic defender, and the partnership that him and Clara have built already that you can see. I think they're going to be 2 of the best defenders in the league. And then we've got the likes of Gray, Soy Samuels.
I think what people fail to realise, and I've seen it a lot online, when you talk about these players that are coming for free, people are failing to realise that these players are on high wages. So I went to, as I mentioned, I did the under-18s game the other week against Middlesbrough, and I got talking to some people in the club, and they were like, yeah, these players are on ridiculously high wages for championship teams, because we brought them in on free, so we can offer them extra wages, and we may be paying out £4, £5, £6 million a year on wages, and paying maybe 60, 70k a week. I think people forget that side of it when they're like, "Oh, we've got millions to spend, and we're not spending." We are. We're invested in the right people and bringing them in. Yeah, okay. Damari Gray might be on like 70, 80k a week. But if we go up, there's definitely going to be a clause in his contract where his pay won't change. And it might be that if we don't go up the first season, he does take that pay decrease because it's a pre-signed contract. There's going to be little clauses like that in contracts that we ain't ever going to know about what they're on. But people seem to think that we've got unlimited money because they're not taking into consideration these wages. But we need these high wages to get the kind of players that we're getting in.
Yeah. I think like the Stansfield deal as well, people say, oh, it's 15 million. It's 15 million spread over 7 seasons. That's just over. We only pay 2 million a season. That is undershoots. That's why Chelsea spend 50-40 million on 18-year-olds, because they give them 9-year contracts. Yeah. So it gets split and then they sell them for however much. Like, we're only paying 2 million a year for Stansfield. We are probably making that back in shirt sales.
The thing that questions me on Stansfield is obviously they've never actually released the amount that it ever will be with add-ons or not. And obviously when we first signed him, he signed for 10 million. Oh, it's rise to 13 million. Oh, it's 50. Oh, it's 20 million. And then there's people out there like, oh, Birmingham City paid £3 billion for a striker. The deluded ones. But on Sky Sports the other day, when we played Sheffield, I don't know if it was Sheffield United, or it might have been Port Vale in the Cup. And Port Vale, when he come on, and the commentator turned on and goes, here comes Birmingham City's £11 million player. And it makes me wonder, if Sky Sports are reporting he was only £11 million, Either they've got some really high add-ons that Fulham are getting from him with promotions or whatever, or is that figure actually as high as we think it is? And 20 million was just a number thrown out there and people stuck with it and went with it.
It's one of those. Whenever you say undisclosed now, they just guess, don't they? I think they do their look-ins. As you say, they find a number that's appealing and then they put it everywhere.
Yeah. Just going to reply to Stuart here. Thank you for joining us. Doesn't matter that you're late. We're still here. At the moment, all that's happened today is George Hall has gone to Port Vale on a permanent, and we've signed nobody. So it's a good day so far. Viz likes to wind up. We signed Messi in the last minute. I'm sorry, Matt. I didn't see your comment before I said that we signed no one. Otherwise, that would have been quite funny. Stephen said, "Bird is the word." Not much. But yeah, I think we've done some really good business. But question I want to go on more towards Josh, because I know you look at like statistical sides of stuff. We've obviously signed all these players this season.
Yeah.
If the unthinkable was to happen and we were to go and get promoted straight away, how many of the current, what we deem as main 11, how many of those players get into a Premier League squad next season?
I would say probably Neumann. I think he physically has the attributes for the Premier League. He's quick, he's tall, he's very strong. I think he gets in, definitely. Possibly Clara, if they build a good enough partnership. And possibly, I think Asayi Samuel's got the physical side to play in there as well. I don't know about Ryan Alsop. I joke with my lads all the time that if Onana can play for Man United, then why can't Ryan Alsop? Because I mean, he's got the kicking for it. If you want to play possession football, as long as he's not messing about like he was at Leicester.
Yeah.
So, but I think probably you'd have to get a new goalkeeper in. Cochrane, I think we saw up against Newcastle, struggles when he comes up. When he comes up against quick wingers, I think Cochrane does struggle. I think Tommy Doyle, I mean, we've already seen that he can play there. I think Paik can do it. But for me, I always feel like there should be more with Paik. I feel like we hear loads of people saying about how amazing he is and he's easily one of the best midfielders in the Championship. And I feel like I'm always waiting for him to like really take a game and just go, yeah, okay, I'm just going to dominate the game then. I think even in League One, I felt like that. I'd come away going, oh, he was really good today. But I never came away going, he absolutely destroyed them. So I think he's one that if he steps up, he can. I think Damari Gray, if he was to carry on how he's going and probably get to, because I don't think he's at full fitness yet. I think he's still looking a bit tired. But I think it's more his kind of willpower motivations getting him through games. I think when we see a fully fit Damari Gray, I think he could be at that quality. To be honest, I think that's about it to get into like a proper Premier League. I don't think people realise the proper step up for the Premier League. I mean, I've already seen this season just a step up in the Championship. I think just looking at some of the teams, like Leicester didn't really seem to get out of second gear against us. And like the quality they have, I think it's another step up for the Premier League.
I think you look at it as well, like what you say there, Leicester didn't really look like they had all motors running. It looked quite easy to them. But then you look at on the other hand, Ipswich have made it look like they've just come up from League One. They've not had a good start at all. And I feel like this season, maybe from January to now and going forward, it's going to show that this is going to be the closest division to being in the Premier League. Like you look at some of the Wolves players and that are in that bottom of the championship table, and you'd sit there and you go, "I'd snap their hand off to have them at Blues," because they're quality players. But weird to think about that you didn't mention there Stansfield, who's a £20 million player, and obviously Kyogo at 10 million, and yeah. Do you not think? Is it one of those where we forget about these kind of players in them conversations because we're so like, oh well, they've got a price tag, they have to be a Premier League player, or is it? Do you generally potentially not see them as Premier League players?
I mean, I don't. It's hard with Stansfield because I think he is amazing, but for me, watching him in the under-21s, there was a difference in just his technical ability. I think there was a lot of times in that under-21s where it was his drive and determination that was getting him into good positions, and I think he was winning the ball because of his physicality, which a lot of the under-21s, especially defenders, don't have. They're used to playing in under-21s leagues. Stansfield had just had a season in League One where he was coming up against guys 10 years plus of his age, and he was having to battle with them, and he was taking that into the Euros, and I don't think the defenders were ready for it. But there was a lot of times where he was asked to dribble with it and he was just losing it, whereas you'd got the likes of like Harvey Elliott, James McAtee, where the ball's literally on a string. So I think that's where we don't quite see the jump, really. I think Stansfield could get there because he is so young. I think we forget sometimes how young he actually is. And as you say, people see the price tag, but they don't remember that he is still really developing. Kyogo, again, it's hard because we haven't seen him, really. He's been missing in games. He's had chances, yes, but he hasn't really. He's still getting to find his feet, both in the league and with the team. I think, ask me again around December time, end of the season, it might be completely different. I mean, he might be saying, yes, 100%, or it could be a, no, he's awful, we've wasted our money. I'm thinking it's going to be more towards he's going to come good. I think we just need to start unlocking him, and Davis has got to work that out through the tactics.
Comment here from LST. I'll put this one to you, Dan. Rather have just signed Lee on a free, thought he was all right. Obviously, we had him come in on loan in January for the end of the season. He played about 4 or 5, 6 fixtures at the end of the season, and he did look a good player, and he had a lot of potential, settled in quite easily. Would you have been happy with him to be Cochrane's competition, would you say?
It's a tough one, isn't it? It's like end of last year, League One. Is he a championship player? Where we want to go? I think Cochrane is a solid left back, and I think in order to be not title contenders, to go in for the playoff seems to be what our goal is for this season. I don't think he's good enough. But then on a free, having someone as backup in the squad, yeah, potentially. We haven't signed anyone as backup now, so at the minute we've got Laird. So yeah, so having him on a free
would have been better than nothing. Gary's put poor deadline day, mid-table team at the moment, which is fine if that's the aim. But if promotion is the aim, then this team isn't good enough. Goals win games, and we don't have enough going forward. I think you look at Ipswich, where we attacked. Obviously, only got the 1 goal, unfortunately, to the penalty away and not take 3 points. Then we went to Sheffield United, and again, we pressed, we attacked. Got very fortunate, obviously, to get the 2-1 win. Went to Blackburn, weren't that much, but again, we attacked, and just weren't putting these chances away. It's a bit of a question of if we've gone first 3 games of the season and we've had, I think I read something stupid like we had 30 odd chances and we scored 5 goals. Is that necessarily a player problem, or is that a coaching problem where we potentially need to start looking at like what are they learning in training and what are they needing to work on in training to be taking these chances?
I think we've suffered because I can't think of a team that's come up from League One and had oppositions just defend against them. You think of every team that's come up, maybe probably the Wolves team that came up a couple of years ago, but even like Ipswich did the double promotion, teams were coming out against them and attacking them, and Ipswich are hitting them on the break. Already, you've seen Ipswich came, sat back. Against Sheffield United in the cup, they came out a bit and we tore them apart. We just couldn't finish. We've gone to Blackburn, who spent the whole game with, again, 10 men behind the ball. And then we went to Leicester, who got the early goal and, again, just kind of sat back again. I think that's what we're suffering from, is that we're coming up against teams that are just sitting back and waiting to hit us, and we're struggling to break them down now. I think maybe a change of tactics would help in that we need to move the ball a bit quicker. I think against Ipswich, we did it really well, and it was that one touch we were going. I think the last two games, especially, that passing hasn't been there and it's been slower. I think once we get that back up, then I think we can kick on from there.
Yeah, I think in comparison to last year, we were the team that everyone wanted to beat. And I think we've kind of taken that into this season as well. I think even though we are the team coming up, teams still want to come to St Andrews knowing that it's a fortress that we've created. And they want to give it to us and they want to, put their best squads out. Maybe a Sheffield United or a Leicester wouldn't play their strongest team against a team coming up, 9 times out of 10. But because we are, spending the money and we're ambitious enough to try and fight for the top 6, teams are looking at us and thinking, I don't want to lose against them. And we are having to go into every game being, again, the team that everyone wants to beat, which is good, I think. I think it's... I like that.
Does that pressure, though, also come from... Obviously, I've seen someone just put on here, Sam's put, 4 games in and people shitting it will be sound. I've said it before, I think we will be, but does obviously, it was a very big storyline the year we got relegated, that first time in 20-odd, 30-odd years we'd been relegated from the Championship. Obviously, we, as Blues fans, had seen it coming for quite a while. And then, obviously, the kind of team we had last season and record-breaking, points-breaking, winning, low, like 90% of the time winning. Does the pressure that's then put on us, do people over-exaggerate how big it is for us? Or is all the pressure of the big, like Sky Sports, we've been mentioned more on Sky Sports, I think, in the last 4 games than we have in the last 10 years prior to us going down, and there's a lot of attention on us now. Is that one of the bigger problems, that everyone sees all the attention we're getting, and that's why people are panicking, because they're thinking that we should be better than what we should be, Liverpool or doing an invincible Arsenal and going and beating every season and winning every league and trophy we go into? Does that come from how much we're now spoke about on TV, or is it just fans in general think we're that good?
I think it's just a general feel around the club that the expectations are a lot higher than they have ever been in my time. And then when you've got the owners talking about their expectations and the money that's being spent, and then being around the ground, seeing what's being spent there, and the atmosphere, it's out every week, away games, like record attendances. I think just everything around the club at the minute is just such high expectations. So I think fans who, I don't know, maybe have come out the works and are seeing everything that's going on, are just expecting wins and stuff. So like when we played Leicester the other day, in my heart I was like, okay, we can do this. We've got the quality in the team to get a result and maybe get a point, or even take the 3. But when we went 1-0 down, you could see the quality in Leicester's team, and it wasn't a surprise to me. I knew what we were going to be playing against. Okay, I don't think we deserve to lose 2-0, but the 2 goals scored, you can't argue with them. But then the backlash that saw on like social media with Blues fans just, digging in at the team and like criticising big players that we've got. I don't know. It's typical Blues behaviour, Blues fan behaviour. It's not nice to see.
Sam put it, this is going off what Josh said a minute ago. Said this last season, if we play against teams that do that to us, what we want to do, we crumble. Davis needs a plan B. Obviously, if you've watched the podcast from the other day, breaking news, Birmingham City, the club can confirm Tyler Roberts has joined Mansfield Town on loan for the remainder of the season. Transfer news, Birmingham City goes to Tyler Roberts has left the club.
It's the wrong Roberts.
Yeah, the wrong Roberts. Going back on Sam's comment, if you watch the podcast that Sam and Tommy did the other day, they discussed that Davis needs a plan B and a plan C because we seem to go into every game with one plan, and when that plan don't work, it doesn't seem to be we have that backup. We spoke about it, the tactical keeper injury we had in a couple of games where it was tactical talks. Do you think Davis generally has a plan B, or do you reckon that's where our downfall is, that we have a set way and unfortunately we can't alter that mid-game and we struggle with that side of when we are 1-0 down or in a defensive situation, Josh?
I don't want to say Davis doesn't have a plan B, but I think the test for Davis is like we've brought, I think, is it 9 players this window, which 10. Is almost 10. There we go. Almost an entire starting 11.
Yeah.
Those players have got to get used to playing in the team. And so his training sessions, he's got to get them used to the way that we're playing. Like Ethan Laird said in an interview, it's the first time he's been at he basically played under one manager an entire season. And he said that this window or this summer, it's been a lot easier because a lot of the team know what they're doing. So embedding that in and getting the other players knowing it, I think that's what he's been trying to do. I think this window now, or this break that we have, I think this is where Davis needs to basically say, okay, we've learned this way. Now let's try and figure out another way. I do think personally we do need to switch it up a little bit. I think we are getting a bit predictable because it's slightly different to how we were playing last season, in that we've got more of the player that's playing in a cam is a lot higher and they're almost a second striker. I think we need to have more. I'd like personally to see more both wingers. I like a team that have 2 really pacey wingers. Yes, you can have one that comes in off the wing and takes shots and things like that, but I like to have wingers that make the pitch really wide. And that's why I liked it under John Eustace, for example. And I think we can do that and still have the fullbacks bombing on if you want to. I think Davis has got a bit too much control. Like he's not obsessed, but he likes to have control in games. And he said that himself. And I think that's what he's tried to focus on. He's getting that control. And I think it's just hampering us going forward a bit.
I said it the other day to one of my pals. I was talking to him, and he said, "You seem like you struggled with attacking against Leicester and a couple of." He's a Leicester fan, season ticket holder, and I was talking to him. And he said, "I said the one thing that's different this season is when we had the ball, say with Clara and Davis last year. If the ball goes out to Laird on that right hand side, and he goes forward 10, 15, 20 yards like Laird does, and he turned and cut back." Clara is 15 yards inside the opponent's half. Yes, okay, clubs sat back against us, but we pressed high. But it'd be the difference of Clara would get that ball and it would be with seconds, like quick passes, that was back on the left-hand side and attacking down the wing. Where I feel like this season we're a bit slow to get it across the pitch and down to we get to Cochrane and he goes, "Oh, do I want to go that way? Do I want to go? Oh, I go that way." And then it comes back into Pate, and Pate goes back to the defence. We're not that fluent of pushing forward. No. And I feel like that's where it's changed this season. Just going to point out one comment, just because I feel like a few people might have got a bit confused with what I've said. No, this isn't the Sunderland signing. This isn't a signing for us. This is the Tyler Roberts that we signed from Leeds 3 years ago that no one's seen since that's been
I
signed.
was going to say, it's easy to get confused because we haven't really seen it. Which, funnily enough, I actually thought he would be a great signing. Or when Davis came in, I thought he'd be the perfect player because he's a very tricky cam that plays good passes and presses.
From what I've read online about him from when he was at Leeds and some of the other loans he's been on, you look at how Davis lines up and he has to have a special philosophy. You play a certain way, you have a set attitude, you want to be there playing every day. And I feel like from what I've read, maybe Tyler Roberts' attitude wasn't that of, I want to be here, I want to be winning, I want to be doing this. It's quite a slumped attitude. And maybe that's what's cost him his place. Sam said here, going off earlier when we said, obviously, about the fans expected now. We've seen how good we could play against Newcastle last season. And the fact that last season is our expectation, we see how good we can be. It's hard to when you see us play that well to then see how poor we've played in a couple of games. But
I personally think with that game, so we played unreal. I don't know if you two were at the game as well, but the atmosphere there that we created was like such a hostile place, such a hostile stadium to come to. And then we were the underdogs playing a Prem team. They didn't play like the weakest team, but they didn't play their first team. But still a very strong squad that they played against us. And we played extremely well. So I can't lie with that. But we can't really say that that's the expectation for us because we're not going to have all those same elements involved in a league game or a cup game.
The way that I looked at it is 5 minutes into that Newcastle game, and it was kicking off on the side of the pitch because we put tackles in and we were like, we're letting these fuckers know we're here. Like we're going to let them know, we're going to give it to them. You can't do that when you go and play Oxford. It's just not the same kind of atmosphere. Newcastle's one of those where, like you said, we're billed as the underdogs. It reminds me of the 2011 Carling Cup final. You're a massive underdog. First 5 minutes, you stick a tackle in, you know, you're telling them, we're here, we ain't messing around. And we've had those things. And I feel like that's what people expect us to be like every game. But you can't be going and playing Oxford and expecting that same atmosphere and that same situation because it just ain't going to happen, is it?
No, I think for me, it's not necessarily the atmosphere. I think when I look at that game, it's the setup of the team. That's exactly what I wanted this season, in that we had Anderson on one wing and Scott Wright on the other. And although Scott Wright came in, he was very much a winger in that game because Laird didn't go as far forward because he was more defensive. Now, I'm not saying that Laird or Asai Samuel won't get forward this season because they will. But I think having that extra pace rather than a Williamson, I think that's what would help us. I think that's why we slow down now this season, because we've got Gray on one wing, and it's almost when it gets to Williamson, we're waiting for Asai Samuel to get up the pitch, and it slows it down. Whereas in that game, we were getting the ball and we were going, mainly because we knew if we're going to attack Newcastle, we've got to go at them. But that's what I was hoping for this season, in that we'd have, I know against Nottingham Forest, for example, in the pre-season, in that game, we had Anderson on one wing, Gray on the other. And when we got the ball, we went. And yes, we had moments where we were passing it, but we just went with the ball. And I think it's almost, Davis has gone back to that notion again of, we're playing against championship teams like an Oxford. They're just going to sit back. So we need to focus on keeping the ball, keeping possession. If they haven't got the ball, they can't score. That kind of mentality. When in fact it's, no, let's go and score more than they do.
It brings on to Paul's comment. He says, against Leicester, Damari had 3 players on him.
Yeah.
He needs to recognise that and switch play quickly to where the space is. And that was what I was saying a minute ago is, I feel like we've got so much faster and so much better quality, better players, and they do the fancy flicks and the fancy pass, and then you watch it and you're like, wow, it's really good to watch. But sometimes I feel like, and even Laird's done it a couple of times this season, where last year he'd bomb forward, stick a ball in, and that the defenders didn't know what to do. This season he's gone forward, he's gone left and right and jumped over the ball 10 times, and then passed it back to Clara. I feel like there's just, for some reason, we've got all this faster pace, but we're slowing everything down. Maybe it is Kyogo's in the middle, not quite at the same pace of reading that's where we're going and it being that fast. But it definitely is a difference of our pace compared to last season.
I was going to say, it could be the fact that they are getting in those positions faster than the other players. And then it's that fear of, we are a possession-based team. David, all that we play. So it's like getting in those positions, looking, there's no one there, play it back, and then we're back to square sort of thing. And
it's like they'd rather keep the ball than take the risk of playing a pass that'll get us in. They'd rather go, but no, we'll keep the ball. So
Ryan's put, you should have took Yang. He has potential to be the next Messi. Not sure if you've seen it today, Ryan, but that deal fell through. Still unsure as to what it was. Apparently, he couldn't get into the mid. I've seen some earlier. Someone said he couldn't get into the Midlands and get it all agreed by 7 p.m. So potentially that might be why it was just timing wise. But that was reported by Sky Sports earlier that deal was off and it had fell through. There's a lot of mixed comments about Robinson coming in. People again saying, we've got money. At what point do we look at this season, if we take it to a negative side of the point at the moment? We've brought in 10 players. There's potential we're bringing in another 2 today, hopefully within the next half an hour, 45 minutes or so. At what point do we say that this season hasn't been a success? Or do we look at this season as this is our comfort season in the Championship of being a stabilised team to build for maybe a stronger team next season that can push on for playoffs? So when we've got going into the Premier League, we've got a comfortable team there.
I think there's a lot of high expectations. Like you say, we brought in 10 players. We've played 4 games. We haven't seen a lot of those players play a full 90 minutes. I think the transfer window has been a success. I think we've strengthened in almost every position. Yeah, we're missing a couple of players that we need. If Cochrane gets injured or Stansfield stays injured, like those kind of positions there, we would be lacking. But then we've got January to build and rectify those signings if we need to. So I think throwing money at players that maybe they're not necessarily high on our list to bring in, I'd rather not just waste the money. I think, okay, we've got a good team. Let's hope that we don't get significant injuries. We've got a deep enough squad to do well from now until January, and then let's focus on that. And I do trust what Craig Gardner and Chris Davis and Tom Wagner are doing. I'm not too worried about having not brought anyone in today, personally.
Duncan says, just stop playing Willemsen on the wing, play him at 10 or on the bench or nothing. I totally agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
When he came in, Willemsen was that 10 role behind Jay. And I feel like that's where he was strongest.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, then he got injured, obviously. Come back, and then for some reason we went, we haven't got a right winger, let's put him out there. And he just seemed to lack. He played against, I can't remember if it was Sheffield United, and he played in that 10 role for 10 minutes of the game, and he controlled the game nice and smoothly. Might have been Oxford. The game where he paid that pass into Kyogo, and he somehow put it wide. But he went into that 10 role and he controlled that game because he seemed comfortable. He was able to turn, pass the ball. He seemed to he knew what he wanted to do 2-3 steps ahead. So if you're Davis and you're seeing him play that, and you're seeing, especially online, we know they look at social media and we know they look at it, and you're seeing everyone going, wow, Willemsen had a good game, because there was a lot of attention on him having a good game, and people are sitting there going, he's had a really good game, he's played really well, we've got the original Willemsen back. What then goes through Davis's head to go, I'm going to put you right wing next game, rather than putting him in that cam position and playing him where I feel like is his position.
I think he can't win headers, but he is 6'4" and very imposing. And I think Davis looks at that and goes, he'll be good for defending corners. And it again, I think it's Davis is in the mindset of, if they don't score, we get a point out of the game. Not saying that he's negatively minded, but I think he likes Williamson, and I think he likes him because he offers both sides. And I think he put him out on that right wing because he thinks, he'll like drift in and help in the midfield. But actually, it doesn't work. I would have preferred to see Kumas out on that right and have Williamson, as you say, in that 10. I think that's where last season he got in some brilliant positions in the middle where he'd just kind of float off the midfielder and he'd be standing there with his arms up in the air, and they just wouldn't pass to him. And you could see he would just be like, oh, but then he'd get into another great position. I think when he came back from injury, the big thing was we'd signed Kieran Dowell, and we got Dowell on the right, Williamson in the middle, and Dowell kept floating in to basically where Williamson was, and they were both just getting squashed, and Williamson didn't have that space then. I think that's why he had the big drop-off, and then his confidence went, and I think that's when we saw stray passes and things like that. And you saying he was able to play that ball through to Kyogo against Oxford, that's the Williamson we want to see. But say Davis is almost trying to shoehorn him in the team, but not in the right position. If he played him in the right position, we'd see the Williamson of the start of last season.
I think Williamson's got a lot to offer. If he's played correctly, and it is one of those where it's he needs to be played correctly, otherwise it isn't going to work.
He's championship quality.
I think he can be.
Someone, let me just try to find the comment because someone's put something here.
That's someone we haven't talked about, is the Ducks.
We're going to get onto it in a minute because there's a lot of comments about the Ducks. Someone put something about Williamson that said he can be quality, but basically he doesn't use his weight, and he doesn't. Here, Ducks obviously talk about playing him in the right place, and then he's put, but he's proved he can't defend, he can't press, and he doesn't use his weight. I feel like if he's focuses on that part of training a little bit more, and I said it in on the podcast of the week, the game that he played where he started, he was jumping for headers. Last season he wouldn't have done that. And he looked like he was trying a bit more to be that kind of aerial threat. I feel like if he can get that sorted of being that aerial threat where we can put him in that cam role and he can flick balls on and he can use his weight to control the pass, all day long he could be a championship player. But rolling on to Ducks, I'm seeing a lot of people saying Ducks or Doyle need to be in number 10. I want to see Duck and Ted and Doyle in the holding role myself. I feel like with Ducks coming in, that's then going to put more pressure on Williamson. And I feel like Ducks he already uses his weight. He already knows how to control a game and hold the ball up. Like I said earlier, he knows that Djukovic role, but then he can also hit a free kick from 30 yards out, or he can put a good ball in the box, or he knows how to find the goal. And I think that's just the difference of kind of player that we've got, is a number 10 that knows how to score and a number 10 that knows how to create a goal. And I feel like Ducks will get better because he'll start scoring.
Yeah, I think that's right. With the Ducks, he's very much he's not the target man in a sense of you're going to hit the ball in the air to him. He's the target man that you play the ball into. He's going to flick it off to the winger and he's going to spin and then make that run in behind. I think he's more the, what's the quote from, what's the football with the American manager? Oh my God, it's gone out of my head now.
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. Where is it? Jamie Tart was like, you got to play through me, not to me. That is Duke.
Yeah.
You've got to play into him. He'll flick it off, and then he'll make that run. I don't think he's that's going to be like a Dykes, who's going to be winning a headed flick on. He's more of a hit it into his feet. I think that's what he was trying to do against Port Vale. But I think with Dykes, it wasn't working because he was flicking it and Dykes couldn't get on the end to it. And I think if we had like a Kyogo or Stansfield running onto it, it could work a bit better.
I had this conversation with Kieran the other day where I said, Ducks will play, and the best way to describe it is a Harry Kane role, where Harry Kane plays as that striker of, if you get down the wing and you put the ball in the box, Harry Kane's going to be there to find the back of the net. But you've also got the point of, and he did it well with Tottenham, when Son or Richarlison or Mora were running down the wing and they were stuck and they were like, right, we want to go forward, but we need to come into that deeper role.
Yeah.
You knew always what was happening. The ball's getting played into that position. Harry Kane's going, one touch, bang, out there on the left, or straight down the right there. And that's what Duck shall play. The ball will come to his feet on the floor from Pakin Iwata, will come into that little narrow roll, and he'll go, there you go, Gray, or there you go, Anderson. There's your run. And then that defender's coming in here, and he's just going, yeah, thanks, bye, and carrying on down where then into the box. I think that's what Dutch will bring to the squad. And we had obviously the conversation about Alfie May earlier, that he was one of the big characters in the group. And obviously in Dutch's first interview, he said, I'm a joker, I like to play pranks, I like to have a laugh. And I feel like he is what, once he's settled and people, obviously there's a language barrier. Yes, okay, speaks German, speaks English, but it's still like the language barrier of different people. There's a couple, obviously, Iwata and Paik and stuff, their English isn't the best in Kyogo. Once you get that little banter going, that little joke, and you start seeing the players relaxing with each other, I feel like you bring that ball into Dutch and you've got Gray, Anderson or Kyogo running off him. I don't know what I'd be more scared of. As a centre-half myself, I don't know what I'd be more scared of than those three players. Fast, skillful, they can score goals, they can move the ball. They will, if that clicks, they will make defenders look stupid.
So I'm surprised Anderson was dropped, because that attacking forward, like those attacking three players that we had, scary, like you said. You got them three running at you. You're like, shit.
That's why I come back to the. Yeah, it's why I come back to the. We should be playing two proper wingers, not a winger in Gray and then a Cam that's going to float in. I think we need proper wingers. Even if you put a Kumas out on the right or you put Kumas on the left, and because he's come in and he looked good in the first game against Port Vale. I think he was one of the few players, especially in the first half, that was trying to do some different things with the ball out on the wing to get past a man. And he didn't seem afraid to cut in and shoot. I think that's the kind of player we need. And I think against Leicester, I don't think he should have started against Leicester. I think he was way above. Way too soon. But I think embed him slowly into the team, either on the left or as a right, as a proper winger. If you want to let him cut inside, do that. But I think that's what we need.
I thought he did well considering, but it was the wrong game to start him, 100%.
Kumas has a lot of potential, but against Leicester, the vibe that I got from him was he's obviously still new to the squad. He still don't want to step on people's toes, and it's kind of like he doesn't know where he kind of, in the best way to put it, doesn't know where he stands in the group at the moment. Yeah. So he's kind of not like, well, I'm just going to float in here into this role where I can get the ball and I can play, because he doesn't want to annoy whoever's in that number 10 role and them going, you're meant to be out there, you're meant to be doing your role. And I feel like that's the problem he's going to have, where I feel like now we've got, obviously we had the extra day because of playing on Friday night, but you don't really get an extra day really, do you? But we've now got a 2-week international break where last season, it reminded me, that first international break couldn't have come at a better time for us, because it was like they come back from that international break and the players gelled like that. It was like they had that 2 weeks where it was like they learnt each other, they got on with each other. You seen the social media side where they were off the pitch, they were bonding with each other, they were going to play golf and stuff like that, and they were building that connection up with each other. And I feel like this season, or this international break now, we're going to get a similar feeling. And we obviously we'll have a look at it next week or potentially Wednesday. We'll look. We got Stoke when we come back on the 13th, and I feel like going away to Stoke is a tough game as it is.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you're bringing in the players in today. If we've signed these 2 players, if it is 2, 3, 1, however many it is, even if it's 0, you've then got all this week and all next week to build on how to play, how each other plays, your style, your formation stuff. And then Stoke aren't going to, I hope it's going to be, Stoke aren't going to know what to hit them on the day. That we're going to come out with our strongest squad of fully fit players, everyone at 100%, and just go, there's the goals that everyone keeps saying we can't score. There's the possession that everyone keeps saying they're working, and just batter them.
Have we got many players going on international duty? Obviously, last season we had a fair few of our squad, didn't we? But have we allowed them to go this time, or
as far as I'm aware, we haven't got anyone. Because I only said that because last year, every time we had an international player go on international duty, the club announced it, and it usually was before that last game before the international break. So it would have been like Wednesday, Thursday last week. There's been nothing. So as far as I'm aware, I don't think any players have gone in international break, which is quite surprising because I thought that Dykes would have gone with Scotland for one. I don't know if Japan and South Korea and that lot are playing. I'd assume they are because it's World Cup qualifiers. So I don't know if Pake's going to go or Iwata's going to be gone. As of stats, when I looked the other day, Clara hasn't been called up to Austria before. Neumann's only had Germany under 21s. So I feel like we've got a lot of international players, but I don't think any of them are going out. And maybe it is. We've said no. To allow the players to gel and build because they're seeing this issue. It might be that we haven't had the best of starts. The managers might be looking elsewhere.
Yeah, I think coming back to looking at that Stoke game, I think for me, it's going to be important when we see that starting 11. I want to see players in their correct positions and not playing Laird at left back because he's done well. I want to see Cochrane there because he's a left back. And I want to see either Laird or Asai Samuel, one of them dropped. Yeah. And I want to see what Davis was doing at the start of the season and go in. I'm not just going to shoehorn you in the position. If you want to play your position, you've got to fight for it and show that you deserve to play. Like, I don't want to see Williamson out on the right because he likes to put Williamson. If you're going to play Williamson, play him in the 10 and drop whoever you're going to. I want to see that we're playing the right players in the right positions, basically. I think that's the most important thing.
What is the latest on Cochrane? Because
he was on the bench against Leicester.
So is he?
I'm sure he was.
Just not fully fit then,
but he started. He come on against Port Vale, didn't he?
Yes.
So I feel like he wasn't quite 100% because he come on for the second half and he looked okay. Maybe it's just he's at 75%, not quite 100%.
Yeah.
NST's put here, Clara should be the first name on the Austrian squad. I agree. The guy is an absolute bruiser. Steve's put, Blues posted about players on international duty the other day. I must have missed that one. Apologies. If you can let us know if you know who's out on international break, we'll obviously help the conversation go over there. Don't think anyone likes Willem played out of his 10 spot. It's a common theme between fans online of why is Willem smart on the right? He shouldn't be there. He's not a winger all day long. Stevens put, Clara has been one of the best signs we had for the last couple of seasons, always reliable. One of the conversations that a lot of people had before the season started, and it's kind of where I'm not judging at the moment because I feel like he's got a lot of potential to come. Everyone said Phil Neumann's a great signing because he's Clara but on steroids, and them two together are going to be incredible. We obviously watched Nottingham Forest, we watched Ipswich, they looked great. Sheffield United, obviously, it was Clara that started, and he played with Cashin, and Cashin looked good next to Clara because Clara had that leadership. Then we played Oxford, and they Blackburn, and Neumann didn't quite seem on it Played Oxford, and again, it was a few sloppy passes by him. Didn't fully on it. And then we come to Port Vale, and we went with Neumann and Cashin, and they both looked lost. And I'm wondering, is Neumann taking a bit longer to settle than what people thought he would? And that's why we're kind of getting that bit of inconsistency from him, because reading how he was for, was it Wolfsburg, Hamburg, whoever it was he played for, beforehand, people were like, he's very consistent, he's a solid brick wall, he's a good player, he scores goals, he's a really good friend. And I don't quite feel like we've had that knowing it. So is it maybe he's just struggling with settling it into the new country, new area, new club, new team, new style? Is that what we're waiting for with him? Oh, breaking news. The club can confirm that Alfie Chang has joined Bristol Rovers on loan for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, I think our incomings are done.
Well, I read someone said
Like
earlier,
someone said
one
in
in,
the
one
chat
out.
earlier. Yeah, that's true. Someone mentioned earlier, like you don't have to find the comment, but saying that fans were expecting a statement signing, and he thought that Kyogo and Damari Gray were our statement signings. I think, we did make some, but a lot of early transfers, didn't?
Yeah.
As I said before, we're not rushing to get the wrong people in, and that's what I like about Craig Gardner and the board at the minute. Is if we're not getting the right people in, we're not getting them in. Do you know what I mean? And it'll be the same with all these rumours with, like, we had Mitrovic. Like, obviously his wages would have been ridiculous. Probably Shea Adams and like all these players. Like, if it doesn't fit, they haven't got the right profile, and then the wages and the financial side of it doesn't fit, then we're just not going for it. And I do like that. It's just showing that we're not being irresponsible in the transfer window.
As much as I agree to that, like, it's good to see us smartly planning things, because for all we know, we may have spent 20 million this summer transfer window with wages and stuff like that on top, and it might be right. We'll see how this gets on with 2 more loans coming in, and then it might be okay. Right, we get to January, we haven't quite got to where we want. There's another 20 million, rather than going, here's 40 million in the summer, overloading it with 20 players that can't gel together, and then we're kind of screwed. It's quite smart that we're looking at it that way, but I can't remember the point I was going to make. But yeah, it's smart to see us saving the money rather than just blowing it. And that's one thing that we've all discussed it as Blues Focus before, is Knighthead have come in and they've gone from absolute monstrosity that was our finances and everything in the club, and they're stabilising the club, not just for now, but for long term. And I feel like people sit there and expect it, right, you've got an £8 billion owner, we're going to spend £1 billion, like Chelsea kind of have. We've got billions, we're going to spend billions. I feel like they're doing it in the right way of, okay, well, let's improve that, and that. Let's get that bit right first. And then in 3-4 months' time, we have another transfer window where we can improve that, and that, and end the season with the whole squad that's like, oh, okay, well, here we go.
Yeah.
But we will find out. We obviously, few players going out. Alfie Chang going to League 2, though, to Bristol Rovers is kind of a... I feel like it's a step down. He proved last season at Walsall he was good enough for League 2. I'd have liked to have seen him go, not necessarily to them because we've already got 2 there, but Blackpool or Leighton or someone like middle of League 1 to see that kind of level and have that little bit of improvement. But
I think personally, I would have liked to have seen us do what we did last season and send Chang and Hall back to Walsall, but give them the full season. I think we sent them in January and they both made it basically into their starting team. And from what I've heard, they played very well and became very important parts. I would have liked to see them go back and go, you proved it last year, now do a whole season there. And I was a bit surprised that we didn't do that.
The only problem with that will be, I've got quite a few friends from Walsall, obviously with us all living locally, I've got a few friends from up there that are Walsall fans, Walsall season ticket holders and stuff. Walsall have brought in players this year where they've been allowed to spend money. So the players where they were getting Chang and Hall on loan last season because they needed players but didn't have the funds, they've sold players. So they've been out to go out and buy those players. So realistically, I don't think Chang and Hall would have got into the Walsall squad in a nice way of putting
maybe
it.
somewhere else then, yeah.
Yeah, they're good players and they'd probably walk into their team. But Walsall are now trying to build up that squad where I feel like
fair enough.
I feel like they've gone to like Bristol Rovers is a bit of a random one. Again, relegated, kind of you go into a team that's on the down rather than on the up. And then Tyler Roberts going out again. George Hall obviously gone Port Vale on the permanent. I think that's a good sale because, like I said earlier, we've brought in a bit of money for an academy player, but they've also spent while I'm bringing in, when fit, a good player that's going to play. I've seen someone here a minute ago which made me laugh. Someone could at least offer a tenner and a packet of Haribo Fantastics for Dykes. Hibs have.
How much change?
I will give the taxi ride for free. And the worst thing is, and I come on the podcast the other week, and Dan and Kieran slated me for saying that Dykes is going to play well this season, and then he went and scored a winner at Blackburn. So it kind of like you didn't say anything to me about Dykes for a couple of days, but I feel like he's got a lot to prove, especially the fact it didn't work when he was at QPR. He's got a lot to prove. He's a confidence player, and our fans are awful with confidence players because they're straight away down people's throats, and it never works.
I feel like he's a player, like we've kind of had strikers before like him, who he puts himself about, the ball just seems to bounce off him, or it's like if he's going to press or if a ball's played to him, it's just that like yard or two away from him, and it's always that so close.
In the nicest way possible, when he closes down, when he runs, he reminds me of Djukovic. Now, Djukovic has said it in the past. He's an older player whose legs have gone and he can't run fast. Dykes is still, late 20s, early 30s, and he seems to just be like that. And I'm like, you can't be that slow at that age. Someone's just put, latest 13 minutes ago, Will Smallbone set for a Millwall loan. So again, that's...
fine by me.
Someone put, chuck in 2 Freddos and you got a deal. Unless there's a big money signing no one knows about, this window has slowly tilted away. Considering we were competing with the top teams for players, we've been battling with derbies for the likes of Roberts. Who wants that one? Because it's a good point to make. We've gone from Kyogo was wanted by Leeds and whoever else in the Premier League. We went with Chuba Akpom was wanted by Ipswich at the top of the league, and us and Middlesbrough, obviously, who are up there still unbeaten this season. And now we're challenging Derby, who have not had a good start, and them kind of teams. Where do you feel like maybe we set the bar too high and now we're not managing to make them deals?
I just think I feel like it's how football's going, though, isn't it? Put it this way: would you rather us have signed Kyogo on the last day, and then he only have 2 weeks, or we do it early?
Birmingham City have just tweeted, "Don't go to bed just yet."
Oh, there you go. But I think we've just got to that point where we've kind of got our business done early, which Knighthead are doing. I think the Stansfield one last year was very much it never seemed like it was going to, and that's why they chucked 15 million at it. I think personally, although it's nice to be getting those massive signs on transfer deadline day, and it makes it interesting, and for me, I'd rather just get it over and done with. Literally get all the deals done the first day the window opens, because then you have more time to fit them in. I think that's why you get the likes of, like you say, we're going for Roberts, who got promoted last year. Like, you've got to remember, he was very important last season in Sunderland going up. He got the assist for the first goal in the final. Like, he's a very good player. And like Derby have actually had a quite a good transfer window. So
They signed Dion Sanderson, obviously best defender in the league.
oh, easily, yeah. But yeah, I don't think it's. I think it's tilted away because we haven't signed anyone, but we've already signed 10 players. Like I think it's, as I say, it's nice to get that transfer deadline day signing. It's nice to get that Jay Stansfield. I'd rather it get done before the season started. We get the players in, get them on the training pitch, get them with the team, rather than what are we 4 games into the season or 4 league games into the season already? Like,
Yeah. Someone's just put, hopefully Josh Sargent. It would be a great signing, but I don't see it happening. Now, I've just watched the video that Blues have put out. So Blues have put, don't go to bed just yet. And then there's someone signing a contract. I don't know if you've seen the video, Josh, but...
I'm just about to look at it.
I don't know who it is. There's no kind of signs as to who it's going to be.
We back?
I don't know what's... All I did was change the layout, and it
There we go.
There's no sign of like who it's going to be, but I think the absolute hilarious thing that I've just read was I opened up the Twitter to look at the comments to see if anyone was doing it, and someone's put, "It's 9 p.m. admin. I'm not going to bed at any time yet." And I'm like, how's that helpful when it comes to a player signing? And with someone's like, "I'm not going to bed, admin."
This is a really long thing. It's pathetic, like journalism. But in the picture, he's wearing a watch. In the picture we've got of Patrick Roberts with the kid, he's got the exact watch on.
Okay, so looking more like a Patrick Roberts announcement then.
Yeah, I mean it's the worst journalistic stuff ever, but it's something.
Obviously, we know. Obviously, Reece has put it here. Patrick Roberts from Sunderland on loan, and also Jack Robertson from Sheffield United. Also, we're aware, obviously, who's coming in. We're just trying to work out which player it's going to be. Josh thinks his investigation skills has got Patrick Roberts. Hopefully, that is exactly who we're looking at bringing in. The only thing that I haven't seen. Sorry, I'm just going to get myself a bit more comfortable because 3 hours sat here is not comfortable at all. The only thing I haven't seen, I'm not sure if you are aware of it. Robinson coming in, is that a perm or is that a loan?
I think it has to be. Well, it depends on if Patrick Roberts comes in. The Robinson has to be a permanent because we have 5 already. Because we've got Beadle, we've got Cashin, we've got Doyle, and we've got Kumas. That's 4. Roberts.
I thought it was you could have 6, but only 5 in a matchday squad.
Oh, okay. Well, even so, which one doesn't?
But I have read. Don't go to bed just yet. Maybe the signing a new goalkeeper, clean sheets. Haha. That's good. Good. Hawkeye have taken it the wrong way. Yeah, I think you can have 6, but only 5 in a matchday squad. But someone did read earlier. I'm not sure if it's true or not. Again, obviously, I said don't read it. Don't believe everything you see on social media. I have a feeling Jack Robinson's been released from his contract, or it's a free transfer.
That would make more sense. I was going to say.
So it might be that he's coming in on a free.
There's a few players that have done that. I know Oxley Chamberlain's done it. Dele Alli's done it today as well, apparently. But that would make more sense. If that was the case and we're getting Robinson on a free, I'm a lot happier. A loan would be a bit awkward for me.
But then does Robinson coming in on a free? It makes me question why we didn't give Grant Hanley a contract.
I think for me, Robinson's a step up from Hanley.
I get that, but
and he's left-footed.
Yeah, so we've got rid of obviously from last season. We had what was I about for Laird.
Oh, there we go. Announced.
He's here. I'm just signing number 1 on deadline day. Let's have a look who it is.
Yeah, it's Roberts.
Is it Roberts? Perfect. Signing number 1 done. Come on, Blues. If you're watching Wagner, give us another 3 or 4. Is it definitely Roberts?
Yeah, it's definitely him.
I was just saying my laptop's a little bit slow. I'm just being lazy, really. But yeah, so signing number one, obviously announced by the club. Patrick Roberts has joined Birmingham City on loan for the season.
Signing, in my opinion. I think since I've done a bit more digging into his stats, I've become a lot more impressed with it. I think he's known as being a player that doesn't really have an end product and doesn't score as much as he should, but he's very creative as a winger. So I think if Davis wants this winger that comes inside,
yeah,
I think he's
what
definitely a
I've
player.
seen of him from when he was at Sunderland, because if I'm correct in thinking, Sunderland Till I Die, he signs for them on that, doesn't he?
Yes.
So I remember watching that and thinking, wow, he's a good little player. He'll have a good season in a couple of years. And a few players they brought in, and then obviously they made the promotion to Championship, and he was their captain, I believe. And I was like, oh, okay, he's still there. He must be doing really well. And then it's kind of 2 seasons in the Championship, they're now in the Premier League, and it's kind of dropped down a little bit. And it's kind of sitting there like, he can be a very good signing. I just don't know enough about him to be able to go,
Yeah.
oh, he's really good. I've never really focused on him in a match.
He seems to be. I mean, when you look at him, he's a very he's not a winger that stays out wide. He's very much he comes in and plays in the pocket and likes to be kind of in those tight scenarios, using his dribbling and then plays the pass. I think he's always been that player. I mean, coming through Man City's academy, and then he kind of went out on loan, then went out on another loan, then went on a move. I think he went to Celtic, and it was like, oh, this will be the move. Did okay, but didn't hit the heights. Then he moved to Sunderland. It was like, this will be the move. And then again, he's kind of played and always been a part of their squad, but never been the guy. And
I thought he had a really good run at Celtic, though, because their fans absolutely loved him.
I think he was, I think he's always just kind of got to a point and then not gone like past it, not really kicked on to the level that he really wants to. But he's a top end Championship. He's one of those too good for the Championship, not good enough for the Prem.
But at the same time, the way that I look at if even if it was players we were sat there going, oh, that like people in the comments have said it, like, oh, he's awful, he's terrible, blah blah. Even if he is, as long as he comes in and does the job he's meant to, the one player that it makes me think of that people sit there and everyone ranted and raved about him last year, and he hasn't really done much only because of injury. But Scott Wright, he's a kind of a player like that. Like the way that you describe the way he plays, he reminds me like maybe a bit like Scott Wright is. Because Scott Wright was very similar, where he likes to get the ball on the right, which is really weird to say, or he gets the ball, and he likes to go down and he likes to cut in and get them shots away.
Yeah.
Where obviously Dimmy and stuff like that, they like to pass the ball into the back of the net, that kind of style. So I feel like Patrick Roberts is going to come in. Maybe he does a Scott Wright and scores the last minute winner on his debut. It could work, but it just makes you think that. Would you say that they're similar kind of players?
Kind of. I think Scott Wright's more. He like runs onto the ball. He kind of gets into a good position. Like he floats in, and then he likes to run onto the ball and make those kind of runs, get a shot off. I think Roberts is more the type. He'll pick the ball up. He'll like the ball kind of played into a neat space, work his way out, and then he'll play a ball through to hopefully Kyogo is going to make the runs, or maybe Gray coming in, something like that. I think he's going to be one that, like we saw Williamson in the Leicester game, getting in those pockets, and we couldn't really play the ball to him because he doesn't have that tight where he gets it. He just kind of bounces off him the ball. I think Roberts will be much better in those tight spaces. Of you can just fizz the ball into him and he'll just touch it. I think him and Doyle will work.
Really I feel like that's where Doyle works well. That there's been a few times where we're in a game and Paik does it ever so well, where 3 players will go in on them and he'll just roll it through one of their legs and just pop in the middle of them and go. And Doyle's done it a couple of times this season, and I see it and I'm like, okay, Pate does it, you can do it. We've got Iwata that can do it. We've got Dimmy that can do it. Laird and Asai Samuel can get out of them small little gaps. And it's Anderson is the one where I'm a bit like, he's improved a lot since that season we went down. He's a lot better at controlling the ball and he thinks now before he goes. But sometimes I think he gives too much thought into it. There's been a few times this season where he's got the ball and he's physically stopped. And you can see him going, what do I do? What do I do? And then he just turns and passes it back. And it's like, get the ball, use your pace, and just run at that defender. Because you've got so much speed. And maybe Patrick Roberts comes in and will get Anderson pushing at his best if they play similarly. But like we had this other discussion earlier before you come on. Me and Kieran spoke about before where we said it feels like the front four we're getting are interchangeable with each other. They can all play in any role there. Like we've seen it where Stansfield obviously could play either wing, dropping that 10, push forward. Kyogo's dropped in and out. Dimmy, we know, can do it. Anderson's probably the one player that I'd say the two wings rather than in that 10 role.
Yeah.
Would do you think Patrick Roberts fits in that style of if we've got a front four that can interchange with each other, he's going to be able to do that?
Potentially. I think he's definitely, if he's going to play anywhere, it's going to be on the right, cutting in. Possibly as a cam. He is a little bit lightweight, like he's quite small. I think he reminds me of a Miyoshi. I was trying to think of a player that he reminds me of. He's a Miyoshi, but he's got better end product, I would say. Not necessarily the finishing. He's not going to get us loads of goals, but he'll get a lot of assists. And he, in terms of his chance creation, I think I wrote it down here. He's got something like, I think in his Sunderland, he would create 4 shooting opportunities each game. That's either by like him passing it off and then the next person taking a shot. This season, our best has been Paik with 3. So he's going to add that. I think he's definitely the guy that plays the pass before the goal. I think he's going to help with that a lot more. And I think it's great getting in a right winger who's left-footed because it frees up, like we've been talking this whole time about Williamson. It means that Williamson won't have to play out on that wing and that he can come in the middle now and play in there and we can have Roberts out there. And if they want to change, if maybe there's an attack where Roberts comes in with the ball, Williamson can just peel around and go out wide if we need to. So they can interchange that way. I don't see him coming out on the left like Anderson can do, for example. I think he is going to be either in the middle or on that right.
I don't know, because when you look at the situation, like, and you guys all hounded me in the group chat the other day for not knowing this, but Dimmy likes to play on the left and he's right-footed, and Roberts will play on the right and he's left-footed. So that'll open up both can play either wing. And we noticed, me and Kieran noticed it in, I'd say maybe the Ipswich game, definitely the Forest game they did it, where Stano or Anderson was on the left and Groves on the right, and they'd switch halfway through the half and go. I feel like that's what that opens up with having a right-footed left wing and a left-footed right wing is
I think
if they swap it and we bring on Dutch in that middle, you've got 2 wingers that can play silky, cut in, shoot, score, or play them final passes, or they swap sides and then they start becoming. You can get down the wing and stick the ball in, and we've got Dutch or Dykes in the middle that can get the ball.
This is what I was going to say. Patrick Roberts isn't really quick. And looking at his stats, I think in the last, it's something like 3 seasons he's had at Sunderland, he's only put in like 15 crosses. So I think whereas Dimmy is quick enough that if he switches on the right, he can hit it down the wing and cross it. I don't think Roberts can do that. He's very much, he likes to, as I say, have it really close at his feet and get into those little like mingling spaces. He's not going to be the type that beats the guy down the wing and puts across him at all. He's going to be more like Miyoshi coming in and playing like the pass through.
Reading this comment makes me see, as silly as it sounds, makes me realise what you say more when you say he's like the English Messi. Messi is a very good winger that does not cross the ball.
No.
It's rare that you ever see Messi cross a ball because
Yeah.
he's small and he's compact, and he goes,
Yeah.
I'll run through there. And thinking now of that point of view and what I've seen of Roberts in the past is he is that kind of player that just goes,
Yeah.
I'm just going to run at you and maybe throw a left and a right in there and run, and you're not going to know what to do about it. And then I'm going to go down that way, cut in that way, and stick it in that corner, and you kind of just got to watch it happen.
Yeah, I think a more like with the Messi comparison is a good one. I think I would compare him to Phil Foden. I think he's like the B-Tech version of what Phil Foden was when he first came through at Man City, in that he was a right winger that would cut in and kind of float into that middle. They've kind of changed him into more of a cam, but I think Roberts is a bit more of a winger still. But I would compare him to that in that left-footed winger that's not really pacey, but he's quick over a couple of yards. So we'll get the ball, move it in, and then play those passes either into the middle or through to the striker.
Ewan put, we've signed Messi. Now, we would like a bit of fun. Don't think Knighthead are that good. But I've seen Blues do weirder things. Do you think we'd ever... obviously, you look at the calibre of a playing career that Messi and Ronaldo have had. And you look at players now like Haaland and Mbappe. Jude, for example, is up there. I can't think what the other guy for Real Madrid's called. Vinny Jr. Them kind of players. How long do you reckon it would take for Birmingham City to be at a point where potentially we could be looking at that kind of calibre of player for that time of year? Like generation kind of thing.
I mean, all I would say is that Newcastle are struggling to do it, and they have the richest owners in the world. So I think it would be at least more than 10 years. I mean, it's ridiculous. I think the only thing we have over Newcastle, well, obviously they have all the money. I think location is very important. The fact we're in Birmingham, and HS2 is going to be really helpful because it means that people can get to London within half an hour. But I think, yes, Knighthead have a lot of money. They don't have that much money. It's going to take a lot more. I think they're just really good at the business side of it. I think they don't have loads of money, but they're good at generating money. They're good at getting the deals in, like the Delta deals, for example. The Tom Brady thing has been very clever in that he doesn't own a lot, but you guarantee he's the reason we're getting all the American deals in. Like,
but you see it with Brady as well. Like even in the documentary, he's very influential off the field in a not necessarily like an actual business type, but as a person to speak to.
Yeah.
Like Davis talks about a lot that he's like, oh, well, Brady's there. If I need him, I just give him a call, and it's like that's what you need. BSE Frost has commented. I'm assuming you are a Sunderland fan. If you are, welcome to the Blues Focus channel. Lads, look after him. He's amazing on ball. Lacks a bit of end product, but will get you off your seat. Obviously, if you're a Sunderland fan and you're telling me he lacks a little bit of end product, that's not what I want to hear. But I feel like it could be one of those where we you can train and practice the end quality. And I think that's what some of the players we had beforehand, like Laird and Paik, are pretty sure are the only two players in our squad that were in last time we were in the Championship. I don't think we've got anyone. Stansfield. And you look at what Davis has done with those. Of Paik looks incredible. He was good the season we had him, but he went missing in a lot of games.
Yeah.
He now seems to have stabilised a bit more consistently. Laird has only gone from being an injury-prone player to probably one of the best players we've had the last 2 years combined. It's hard to find someone that's really been up there with him. And Stansfield obviously had a really good season on loan with us and then come permanent and had another good season last year. So it shows that we had a few players last time we were in the Championship that weren't the best, but with the right manager and the right people around them, they can improve and they are getting better. Patrick Roberts' end game could be one of those where we get a bit more precision from him and they train that with him. Talking of Doubter, the logo is missing off the shirts this season. Didn't even notice that, you know?
I didn't even realise they were on the shirts last season.
They were on the sleeve, weren't they? They were on the sleeve, yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah. It's everywhere else in the stadium, though.
Yeah. But yeah, didn't even realise that Tom's Tesco bill is larger, ain't it? Okay. Yes, I agree with this comment 1,000%. Keshi has been working very hard and he does deserve the praise.
I'm disappointed he's been dropped.
Yes.
Don't really see why.
He had a very good season last season. Maybe sometimes his end product needs that bit of a here's what you should have done instead. But in general, he has probably been, if you go back to when you were at school, you'd always have that one kid that was most improved at this. He would get that award because the player, he was another one that was in the Championship with us. And he was awful. I'm not gonna lie. He was the one player at the end of the season I was like, yeah, he's gone. And now I'm sort of going, he needs to stay because what he does and his link up play with people. But I think it's as well his character off the field. You see in a lot of videos where he has a laugh and he has a joke with people. But when it's becoming serious, he can be serious and he can be in the moment. And I feel like that's a very key thing that we've got off the pitch. That, like I said, once it all gels with each other and everyone knows where they stand, where they can be, what they can and can't do that's going to improve us, he's going to be definitely influential in that team.
Yeah, I think he's one where his like tactical knowledge has come on a lot when you're watching him. I think when we saw him under like Rooney and Mowbray and Rowett, you could see there were points where he was out on the wing and he was kind of like, I don't really know what I'm meant to be doing. I mean, a lot of the players did that under Rooney because they generally did not know what they were doing. But I think under Davies, that he just knows. You can see he comes on, and he knows exactly what to do. He knows.
The thing that I think he's improved the most as well, like the most important thing he's improved on, is his defensive side of his game.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
That a couple of years ago, he didn't really get back. He was that kind of, and I said like Mbappe style or Vinny style, where they're all for the glory and the goals and the attacking, but they don't want to do a day's work. Last season, you seen him. Sometimes he'd lose the ball at the edge of the box, and the ball would ping out to the right, and he's sprinting across the field to make sure he's the one getting the ball back. And he very much brought that closing down from the front is a big thing for us. And I think when he closes down, and you've got Dimmy closing down, and we all know what Stansfield's like when he puts his pressure on. But then you've also now got Stansfield on steroids when it comes to closing down with Kyogo with how fast he is.
Yeah.
The four of those closing down, like I said earlier, we spoke about Dan, is when you got them four attacking at you, when it's like a flick and they can run at you, that's fearful. But it's also nervy when you're a goalkeeper that's not good with your feet, which not a lot of goalkeepers are, to be fair, in the Championship. When you're not good with your feet and you have that little moment of panic and you've got Stansfield and Kyogo running at you like that, you're going to panic. And it might be that we, like, for example, the Sheffield United game, closed down the defender, got the ball across, got a goal. A couple of years ago, obviously, Stansfield did it against Leicester at King Power, where he closed down, got a goal from it. I feel like that could be where some goals come from, is our high press. But it just seems to be the last 2 games or so, it just seems to have
dropped off.
We've been the team that's gone, oh, we need to put 10 players behind the ball and defend here because we're going to get battered,
Yeah.
rather than being, no, we're going to come and batter you kind of thing. I hope we haven't burnt the bridges with Yoko. Imagine he comes back after a season or two with English skills and he's matured. This is, I was going to talk to you about this earlier. I forgot. Yoko Yama was one of those players I was really excited to see how he played this season. And then we went and sold him to Genk. And I was like, okay, what was the point of bringing him in for him to play 10 games and then basically go out on loan and be sold? I feel like a few players that we brought in last season maybe were wasted signings, but Yoko Yama was definitely one of those that I thought would be good this year.
Yeah, I could see why we sold him, because we basically brought him for nothing and sold him for like what, 3 million. So I can understand financially why we sold him. I don't get why we sent him out on loan last season, because it was just that point where he was just starting to get into the team, wasn't he? He'd had a couple of cup games where he'd done really well. I think he'd had a couple of appearances off the bench, and it was like, okay, he's got. And then we just put him on loan.
He scored.
Like,
Did he score in 3 games straight? Was it? He scored.
Yeah, he scored. He scored.
Scored in the league, then he scored in the cup, and then he scored that volley against Fulham, didn't he? Or did it start with the volley against Fulham?
No, it started with Fulham because he scored twice against Fulham.
Yeah.
Then he scored in like 3 cup games in a row or something.
Yeah. He had that one where he ran down the left and he cut in on the right and he just whipped it into that far corner. And we won 1-0 in the EFL trophy. But it was like 3 or 4 goals that come from positions that we were desperate for a goal in them games as well. And he come in and did that. And then all of a sudden it was like, Ayumi Yokoyama's joined so-and-so on loan. And we were like, what the...
And then we were like, because Hansen was injured as well. So we were like, oh, we've got Keshi, but who's going to be the other winger? And it was a weird one. I can understand why. I don't think he would be good enough if we got him back. He couldn't defend, and I think he was very. He did run at players, which was very good, but he did lose the ball a lot. I think he got away with it in League One. I think Championship, he could turn out to be really good. He was really young, but I think in a Davis system where he wouldn't get back and defend, it wouldn't have worked.
BCFC Tub says, this is the best squad of players we've had since Chris Hughton days.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really an argument, is it?
No, not really. Well, when you look at Chris Hughton days was European football.
Yeah.
And beating Bruges away and stuff like that. It's hard to look at it, but it makes me wonder if them 2 squads faced each other, which squad would come out on top.
I think this squad is physically better. And you'd say technically, I think mentality-wise and tactically, it would be a good matchup to see, because I think that Houghton side was more. It wasn't as like if we didn't have possession, it didn't matter as much. I think they were more ready and they could hit you on the counter attack and things like that. Whereas I think this Davis side, it's going to be interesting when we don't have possession to see how we look. We didn't look too good against Ipswich when they had the ball. I think we looked very nervous. So it would be interesting to see.
I think we've got a lot of potential this season to what's the best way of some upsets that we could have had. So, for example, like the one upset would be we knocked Sheffield United out of the cup. They thought they were going to have a really good season with Ruben Sellers and go and dominate, and obviously that hasn't worked out. Ipswich first game of the season, we kind of embarrassed them around the park, and then they get a 94th minute penalty that should never have been really. And it's one of those where they're what I'd call them shocks for the fact that the last time we played these kind of teams, they were just walking all over us and we were nothing.
Yeah.
I feel like the biggest test is going to come against the teams like Stoke, Swansea, Coventry, Sheffield Wednesday, which is our fixtures for September. Stoke away, especially, is going to be a tough game. Swansea at home. I've seen, obviously, the other day we sold out Stoke. I think we sold out Swansea. So that'll be 27,000 fans again cheering on at home. It's going to be a good game. I think the one that I'm most worried about, and I've seen it on here a couple of times today, is people have put that Coventry could be scary when we go to their ground. And I think that the game against QPR the other day when they won 7-1, that's a good example of saying, like, look at where we should be. We should be playing teams like that and scoring 7-1, like Oxford in the nicest way possible. We should have been putting 7 against Oxford. We put 1. Coventry were ruthless against QPR, and I feel like if we don't get onto the right start, if we play like we did against Leicester, against Coventry, they could be 3-4, 5-0 up at full time because they are just ruthless and they are.
I agree. Team. I also will say that game where it was 7-1, they only had an XG of about 1. Their shooting for that game was unreal. So I wouldn't think Coventry are going to be up there at the end of the season. They have a very good squad, but I think we can match them. I wouldn't look at them and go, "Oh my god, they won 7-1," and think they're obviously they are very good. And I don't want to sound like I'm saying, "Oh, Coventry aren't all that," but I think 7 flattered them. I think they just had a really good day of everything they seemed to touch went in. And I think we've got more than
goal
enough
number
to match
6
them.
was it? Goal number 6 where he looks like he's trying to cross it in and it just floats over the keeper's head.
Yeah,
I watched that. I was like, "What a goal!" When I first watched it, I watched it back. I was like, "He didn't mean that at all."
No,
that 100% was meant to be just a dink into the box that just went terribly wrong.
Exactly, but when like Christoph Clara does it, of course he means it. So that's the quality difference.
Who did he do it against last year? And he just
it's last game of the season, wasn't it?
Cambridge,
that's it.
And he just he meant that.
But I think we've got, as I say, I think we've got the players. I think the most important thing for Davies is I think our players have got to play with a bit more freedom. Yeah. And I think Davies has got to almost give them a bit more trust of, okay, we're not going to be we're going to move the ball a bit quicker and trust them to be able to get up the pitch a bit quicker. I think at the moment the players look a bit worried to give the ball away or do something wrong. And I think Davies has just got to give them that trust and be like, look, go out there, express yourself, because you are like, when Gray's on it, he can beat whichever right back he's coming up against. He can go past them and he can beat them. Same with Stansfield. Like these players are going to back themselves when you give them the confidence. I think when you take that away from them and you try and teach them almost like robots, kind of like Man City are under Pep at the moment. They're kind of playing a system and all the creativity is being taken out of them. So I think if we give that freedom back to them, they've got the quality to do it.
I think Stansfield's problem is the guy just wants to score goals. He's very much like his dad. He wants to play, he wants to score goals, and he wants to earn himself money. That is what he wants to do. Sometimes I feel like he could just take that extra touch, set yourself, and then play the balls you could play. Because sometimes, couple games that he's had this season where the ball's come to him and he's just swung at it, and you're like,
he's always playing at 100 miles an hour, isn't he?
Yeah. If you had just taken that 2 minutes to go, right, take that touch. If you take that touch and you haven't got a shot on, okay, you play that ball to Gray, you play that ball back into Ilbatter or Paik, who can then get shot on, or whoever it is. But sometimes he could take that touch and he'd still have 4 or 5 seconds before defenders even near him, and he could just go, all right, I'll pass it in that corner there, or I'll place it here. And I feel like sometimes it's one of those where he just needs to take his time.
Yeah, I think that's what I was saying earlier about seeing him at the Euros with the under-21s. it
Yeah.
was very much that you could see that he was always like he was like a little puppy who's just constantly like all the time just like and he was like that in the 21s where you've got like Harvey Elliott who gets it and he's just like okay, take my time, whatever. When it got to Stansfield, he was always like, oh, I've got to do something, and then he'd trip over the ball or he'd lose it and it'd be like, oh.
I think the price tag, he sits there and thinks, I've got to do this.
Yeah,
And
I've got to prove, yeah.
Liverpool have signed Alexander Isak from Newcastle for a British record,
Oh.
£125 million.
Is it bad that I was really hoping it wouldn't go through? And then he'd just be stuck in the reserves.
Although I am currently looking at him on the screen in a Liverpool kit, and it's
looks so weird.
It looks weird, but it looks right.
It looks like, obviously, like FIFA when they sign a player, and you're like, oh, they'd never sign them.
Yeah.
It's so unrealistic.
Chuzza put, don't know if I can last the full 2 weeks international break, Might take up knitting or embroidery until the lads are back. Chuzza, if you are, I know there's a few conversations that have said it. We'll all take hats if you're offering. Give us a shout. We'll send over the wall. MZA put, can't beat a nice cross stitch. You have to get it in. But there's obviously a lot of situations we could put ourselves in where we should have got this player or we should have got that player. And one player I do want to bring up that's been in the comments quite a bit today, and I want your opinion on it because I feel like it'd be a very controversial signing. Dele Alli has terminated his contract. Would that be someone you'd take?
No. I wouldn't take Oxlade. I know you've spoke about Oxlade-Chamberlain either. I think if Dele Alli comes in, who does he replace? If Oxlade-Chamberlain comes in, good players on their day, but also very injury prone, going to be on very, very, very high wages. And who do they come in for? Someone's going to miss out, and it's not a position. I'd rather get a left back. But even then, even if you've got Willemsen, you've got Dukes and you've got Tommy Doyle ahead of Willemsen anyway.
Yeah.
So
Steve's put, will the outgoing Roberts and the incoming Roberts swap numbers? I found this quite funny. I found this quite funny because Tyler Roberts was number 8. Now, Blues couldn't have made it any more clear that they wanted him to leave. The fact that they didn't even assign him a number.
I was just about to say he didn't have a number because Pake's got 8, hasn't he?
Yeah, Pake's now number 8, but Tyler Roberts was never even given a number. Yet they only sent him out on loan, which is what baffles me. But like Sanderson weren't given a number, and then it was like 2 days later announced he went out on loan. But yeah, Chuzza, hope Kieran comes back. I hate to break it to you, mate. Unfortunately, he's not coming back tonight. He's not back till Wednesday now, where he'll be back on Unplugged. Big up Steve's Retro Loft. But it's one of those where we are 2.5 hours after the window's closed. It's took us 2 hours after the window closed to make an announcement that we're going to sign a player. Realistically, if we're going to have another one now, it'll either be 10 o'clock or it's going to be in the morning. I can't see anything else coming.
I don't think we get anything else. I think if we do Robinson, I think if he is a free agent, then we don't have to do it in the time, do we?
No, it's whenever. Free signings. You can sign it whenever. So
I'm just thinking the fact Patrick Roberts was pictured with fans at the ground, and we've had nothing on Jack Robinson. I'm thinking I think that's us done for the window.
Yeah, potentially. I do want to point out this comment. Unplugged is good, deserves more views. We do appreciate that. Obviously, we are building our channel. Obviously, Josh is now doing our post-match statistics or whatever it's called that you
Analytics.
do. Analytics, that's the word.
Yeah.
We've got the podcast out every Sunday or every week. We'll have a podcast out from Tommy and the boys, Zach, Jamie and Sam. and obviously yourself if you're ever around for them. We have that coming out every Wednesday night. We have a live Unplugged where we come on and we just discuss what's going on in the last week. Discuss any news that's going on in football. Doesn't necessarily have to be Birmingham City. If you want to come on and talk about, I don't know, whatever, you can. It's your chance to get your comments in, and we are going to start looking at bringing some of you guys onto the Unplugged, and having it a bit more, so you are literally getting your say in, coming on and talking to us. There is a lot of big things coming to Blues Focus over the next couple of weeks. When we say big things, we mean really big things. There is a lot of conversations at the moment of where we go going forward, and how we can give you guys the best content we can. So definitely need to be letting us know down below what you want to see, what you want to hear, what you want us doing, what you would like to be taking part in, or stuff like that, because we're always listening out. We have a lot of planned stuff coming in as well, so we'll have more match stories for you to read on the website, more interactive games maybe on social media, but I think we'll call it a day there. It's 9:37. Unless Blues are going to put an announcement out in 3 minutes, I can't see us making any more signings tonight.
Don't think so.
It's been a very quiet window, very disappointing window. Last question, Josh. Give us your honest thoughts out of 10 on the window as a whole, and who's going to be your player of the season?
I think I'd give it a 7. I think we've made some really good signings. I think we've made some signings that I personally wouldn't have made. The Beadle one, definitely. I just find it a bit weird. The cash in, again, find it a bit weird that it's only a loan. If it was a permanent signing, then maybe a bit better. But I think it's a good window. I think we just need to give Davis this time now to let the players kind of gel together, and I'm sure they're going to come together and, as I say, be the team we hope that they can be. Player of the season. I don't think he'll win player of the season, but I think Phil Neumann will be a very, very good signing, and I think we're going to be talking about him like Clara last season, and I think they're going to build a really good partnership. I'm really happy for Damari Gray. Really happy. He was one that I just wanted, and he's better than I thought he was going to be. Not necessarily his technique, it's his attitude. It's just fantastic. Like the way he's just happy to be here, and he's not just here to pick up a paycheck. You can see he wants the team to win.
Yeah.
He loves the club, and that's just been fantastic for me. So yeah, happy. Looking forward now to this break and see what we can do when we come back from it.
I know the comments are going to go crazy because it's mentioning them again. But the breaking news: Aston Villa have signed Jadon Sancho on loan from Man United. Looks like Jadon Sancho is going to get relegated. We'll see him next season in the Championship.
He'll get injured and get sent back in January. So
yeah, probably. I'm going to go with a solid. I'll probably agree with you. 7.5 rated transfer window. We've obviously brought in some great players that once they gel are going to be really good, and they're going to kick on. And I feel like after this international break, we could start seeing that. Player of the season that I think is going to be up there will be. I think it's going to be very tough to find anyone who's going to have a better season than Tomoki Iwata. I feel like he's going to be an absolute workhorse for us this season. And he is every season is going to be like a new signing. because he can adapt so easily and change his play. But
he's the player we wanted Sunjic to be, isn't he?
yeah, he is the dream. He's what Sunjic thinks about at night.
Yeah.
He's. But saying that, I absolutely love Sunjic. He was great.
Yeah, I like Sunjic.
He's got you could tell he had a feeling for the club.
Yeah.
Obviously, when it came towards the end of his contract and he scored and he bawling his eyes out in front of the family stand, but
yeah,
it just wasn't meant to be. Dan's gone. Iwata, Peck, or Doyle. I'm assuming they're your player of the seasons, mate. But that's going to be all from us, guys. We're going to leave it there. If there is, and Sam's put aside Samuel, player of the season, I can see it being that as well. He started off well, but we are going to leave it there. If any other signings do come in, we will more than likely have Tommy give you his reaction and his opinions to any players coming in. Obviously, like we've said, we are live again on Wednesday. So it would be good to see some of you over there. If you do want to get involved, drop us a message on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, whatever you want to drop us a message on. Let us know. We'll be happy to bring some of you on and have a talk. Maybe you can let us know your thoughts on the deadline day, on the transfer as a whole, and your thoughts on the season coming up. Make sure you catch us Wednesday for the Unplugged. Make sure you catch us on Sunday for the podcast. This week we'll be obviously looking at Stoke going forward, and the Unplugged on Wednesday will be having a look into the England game. Obviously, England play, I believe, tomorrow. No, Saturday. I think, against Andorra. So we will potentially look at what Thomas Tuchel's starting 11 could be. So again, get yourselves over. We'll be live on X, Facebook, and YouTube again. Let us know what you think. From us, it's a good night, and as always, keep right on.
Keep right on.